4, 3, 2.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday Night Hang, Season 3, Episode 10. My name's Carl Fischer. I think my name's Carl Fischer. I got to look around because I'm not in my own studio. Man, unless I had a paint job and got a drum kit and signs and microphones. Welcome. We're doing a beautiful remote recording tonight from All Access Recording here in Clearwater, Florida. Our friends Ronnie D and Doug Johnston and Mike MacArthur and Lemon Jello are helping us out. We appreciate it, and we're here at the studio, and we're bringing a hang tonight from Clearwater. So welcome, everybody. Very excited tonight. As always, every Tuesday night I'm excited. I'm an excitable guy, you know. You put a jacket on me, you bring me out of the house, I get excited. I'm like a dog. I run around, I'm crazy. Anyway, so welcome, everybody. Thanks for hanging out tonight. I have a wonderful guest. We hooked up earlier today and we got in some trouble, and we laughed and we drove some fast cars. And so he's my new Floridian neighbor. So we have the wonderful guitarist, pianist, Mike Delguidice. He's going to be joining us, and we're going to be talking and doing our playing hang tonight from All Access. Without further ado, I'm going to say hello to my buddy. I believe this is a 33rd episode, and he's the one responsible for keeping us together and honest and safe from LaGrange, Illinois. What's up, Stephen Wright? How you doing, man?
Hey, man. What's going on? Hey, everybody.
You tell me, man. You've been a busy guy.
Hey, I got multiple gremlin tangers this week.
Yeah. And we were actually, this is the first time we weren't early, and we weren't even on time. We were like 9:07 or something?
Hey, we're good. We're all good.
Well, you know, hey, it's still a record. Usually it's like 9:15, so.
Yeah, I mean, with all the moving parts between us, the fact that we're doing like this, we're good, man. We got a good team working with us.
Well, yeah, we do. And bring everybody up to speed because, like I said, we're doing remote location, and you're in LaGrange, and we're in this wonderful studio here. Talk a little bit about that quickly.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool setup. So All Access Recording has a system to where they're able to do a multi-camera shoot live there in the studio in Clearwater, Florida. So you guys, So you guys will see 3 or 4 different views as we go through. We've got, full studio quality sound. I'm here in LaGrange, Illinois, just outside of Chicago, kind of working to direct things. And we got Jello here on FaceTime. And, so we got a whole team of people and about 1 billion moving parts and over 300 of our closest friends hanging out in the chat so far.
Awesome. That's great, man. I appreciate everybody going the extra mile, and we'd also like to welcome in. Tonight we have the privilege of the Billy Joel Facebook social media. On Facebook, we have Billy Joel is re-streaming our stream tonight, correct? Is that the right wording?
Yep. As of 4 minutes ago, they shared it out, so we're simulcasting live on Billy's Facebook feed, and we definitely want to thank everybody involved in making that happen.
Yeah, no, I'd like to thank everybody who was responsible for it, and say hello to our friends around the world. We miss being in front of you. And tonight we're going to have some reminiscing times and also play some music with the wonderful Mike Delguidice. So I think it's all appropriate, and, we're all kind of hang out together and, hanging on Tuesday night. Imagine that.
Yeah, who knew? Who knew when we started this thing and only we're going to do 1 or 2 episodes that we'd end up doing a 4-camera live shoot simulcast to so many people.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Without a doubt. It's cool. And it's funny. Just quickly, we were talking the other day, and we were both stressing about a 4-camera shoot, and that we felt comfortable that we're going to go in All Access and get it together, and
Yeah.
You brought up a really cool point to me the other day that actually either yesterday or today, it was either Monday or Tuesday, I just came on 15 years with Billy Joel's band. And I was the new guy. So that's kind of crazy. And so here we are, 15 years later, and we're doing a simulcast, and I got my buddy Michael here. I think Mike's been in the band either 6 or 7 years. He might have been just past his 6th year, going to his 7th. We'll ask him when he comes on, but it's special to be here. And Stephen and I go way back about 25 years, so it's all about family, right? Yeah,
definitely. I'm happy that we're able to do this, and everybody's given such a great response. I do want to give people a little bit of clarification, because I'm seeing it come up a lot in the chat, just so people understand what's going on. What you're seeing on the left-hand side of the screen is actually your comments. So we're broadcasting to Facebook, multiple Facebook pages, Carl's, Mike's, Carl's YouTube, mine, and then obviously everybody that shares it with their family and friends. So all of those comments are coming through to the right there onto the screen with you guys. I'm hanging out here in the chat with you guys as well. So if you see Carl or Mike type anything during the live stream, it's me on their behalf. So just wanted to give you guys that clarification before we go on.
Yeah, don't be giving my credit card numbers out like you did last week, man. I already had to
It's got a 9
twice.
in it.
Yeah, I had
it's got a 9
twice, man. Yeah, no, Stephen, what's great with us is the hang is it's personable, and we love, get your comments going. We love having the comments. We love talking to the community, whether it be next door or around the world. So that's wonderful. So keep that going. Bear in mind, we can only do so much, and we have some tunes worked out, so we want to play those tunes, and we're proud of them, and I think it's a nice selection of stuff. So we're not doing per se a what do you call that, a sing along, so to speak, or
a request hour.
Yeah, I only know 2 songs, and the one I forgot, and it's Happy Birthday.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be more of a planned thing. So. But I am watching for questions from you guys. Like Carl said, we're not going to do a request hour this time, but I am watching your comments and your questions, and we will have some time throughout the stream for Q&A. So I'll try to keep up as best I can. Noah suggested I need Post-it notes.
Yeah. No, so that being said, I want to jump right to it, because I know we're going to have some wonderful questions from everybody. And I got a lot of questions. I know Mike a long time, but I say it every week when I have guests on for 33 episodes now. I learn so much about the person. I think I know about the person. Stephen, you feel the same way, right? It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, really? Man, you used to wash dogs? I didn't know you used to be a dog washer. I don't know. No, I was a dog groomer, not a washer. Big difference.
We learn things here on the Tuesday Night Hang.
Oh man, so it's all good. Everything's running good, and so I'd like to talk a little bit about our guest. What do you think?
Let's do it, man.
Before I bring him on, I know this is already going to happen, and maybe it's already happened, but I will just show this off. This is the first unveiling. I got really, really, really aggravated the other day, and I bent my horn. I got so mad. No, actually, this is a design I've been working on for years. I call it the elephant trunk. And it's not a straight Dizzy Gillespie belt. What's nice about these hangs is you have trumpet players, you have a lot of musicians, you have also drummers that are not musicians. I'm sorry for all my drummer friends. That's an inside music joke, I'm sorry. But they're not just musicians. I have, doctors, lawyers, salesmen. Everybody comes as a whole. So I try to talk nondescriptly, but I'm going to get a little descriptive. Dizzy Gillespie, the wonderful Dizzy Gillespie, had a horn going straight up with his bell. And so this is my trusty old Warburton CF trumpet that I've played for years. And it's a new bell that we're trying. It's the standard bell that's on the horn, but we bent it. I had my wonderful friend Mike Del Quattro in Las Vegas from Del Quattro Custom Trumpets. He bent the bell, and we bent it up. And the reason we bent it up, and the reason I'm going trumpet geek on this, is for 2 reasons, and they're Billy Joel specific reasons. Is the gentleman in front of me, who I'm going to talk about, when Mark Rivera, the sax player, and Crystal are on our riser, one of the gentlemen that's in front of me is Michael Delguidice. And I'm a straight bell horn. The way I play, I don't play down, but I'm playing right at his ears. And he has ear monitors in. But I play loud, and occasionally he'll give me a glance and kind of like, okay, you're really hurting me. Or when Andy Sachon was in front of me, the bass player, the same thing. And also when I point, I realize sometimes Billy even gets a crack at it. So I wanted to get the horn elevated enough, but I still wanted to have the bell to where it was cylindrical and I get feedback from my face. So this is a prototype we're trying now, and it's the first gig on it. So just wanted to tell everybody I wasn't drunk.
This time.
Yeah. And I didn't bend it myself because I know the comments are going to come in. Well, so that's
Exactly.
the elephant trunk. And,
Yeah, man.
So that being said, like I said, the guy in front of me I know for quite a number of years, and we're very fortunate to have him on. Mike Delguidice is one of Long Island's most celebrated performers, I think. You know, from a rock cover band back when I first met him in Long Island, the cover band was called Kid Gloves. You know, that's when I first heard him, and I was very impressed with him. You know, and Mike Delguidice playing 18 years of Billy Joel music in his own band, Big Shot. You know, Mike is living a dream come true. At least that's what he said on his bio. I got that sentence from his bio. He was living a dream come true. And I can tell you, man, the guy is the most humble, fun-loving guy, and I'm sure that he feels that way. So in October 2013, Billy heard Mike sing and personally asked Mike to join the Billy Joel band. Mike is definitely an encyclopedia of knowledge, and the Billy Joel catalog. He's just a perfect fit for the catalog of Billy's music as a background vocalist and as a great guitarist for Billy. So we love having him in the band. You know, not only is Mike just a brilliant vocalist and composer, but he's a master of several instruments, man. You know, he plays bass guitar. That's when I first heard him play, was bass. Guitar, bass guitar, regular guitar, piano, and drums, which is his own, you know, rhythm section. He's a great composer as well and has two wonderful records out right now called My Street and Miller Place. And I think Miller Place had a tune on it that you probably would recognize from the Kevin James sitcom back. It was on, I think it was on, it was stopped, I think, last year. But it was on for a couple of years. It was Kevin Can't Wait. Mike had the theme song for that called The Ordinary Guy. And it's a wonderful tune, so check that out. Like I said, I first heard Mike back years ago with Kid Gloves at a Long Island venue. I can't really remember, in the 90s. And I was impressed, man. He was playing bass. I was really impressed the way he sang, and I was just like, man, this guy's really got it together. I only know Mike, you know, I knew of him. I only really know him for about 15, 16 years since I've been on Billy's band. Maybe a year before that I started working with him, so maybe 16 years. You know, I've gotten to see Mike blossom even more in the last 6 to 7 years of him being with his tenure on Billy's band. It's really nice to see. You know, we even went back to where Mike was still doing Big Shot prior to having Billy's gig, and we were doing his first Big Shot horn section I was involved with, which was fun because we got to play a lot of the different Billy tunes that we normally didn't play. So that was a fun gig for me because I got to play some different horn things that necessarily we weren't playing. You can't play everything on a Billy show because we'd be there all night. So I was really nice to see Mike work in his band was very nice. You know, it was very eye-opening to me, as well as some other projects back in Long Island I got to work with him with. When I first hung with Mike, though, so working with somebody and hanging with somebody like our show tonight, the hang it's always different with the hang. When I first hung with Mike, it was just like the song that he composed. He's an ordinary guy. You know, he reminded me of my Long Island and New York buddies, man. He has a quick wit and a wicked sense of humor. You know, if you know Mike, you know what I'm talking about. He's just a joy to be around. You know, and when I first heard him, like I said, I was amazed and still am amazed that he can take any singer that you name. He can take any singer and he can sing the song with their vibe and inflection, and as well as putting his own style and vibe on it himself. You know, it's definitely, you know, and the only vibe I could say is, you know, it's Mike Delguidice, but, you know, it's crazy because Mike and Billy Joel both have an uncanny ability to imitate and copy other artists down to a T. And I think that, you know, maybe I'm talking out of school, but we're hanging. So I think that's one of the things that the band loves and Billy loves, having Mike in the band, because he's just another New York guy, a wise guy New Yorker, and he has a uncanny ability to cop different styles and singers and guitar players. It's great, man. You know, again, he makes everything his own, and whether it be a background vocal or if he's singing singing the lead vocal of a Led Zeppelin tune, it's pretty amazing. And then you add on, okay, so he can do that, but then you add on his compositional skills and his original compositions. You know, he's a triple threat, you know, and the evolution of his writing has been really wonderful. I've really liked the way he's changed and you know, just expanded on his ideas. I'm so proud to have him as a friend and see his talents blossom. He is his own man musically, and he's a stand-up man. So, you know, we can't be happier to have him in the Billy Joel band, and I can't be happier to have him here tonight and as one of my great friends and wonderful music partners. And the world's definitely a happier, better place with this guy in it. So let's say hello to my friend. Let's bring him in. Mr. Mike Delguidice. Where is this dude, man? Is he hanging out? Yeah. Oh, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Carlito.
How was your trip? How's the RV?
Oh, it's great, man. How you doing, bro?
We're hanging out.
We're hanging.
We're hanging out.
Love it.
What are you doing here?
I don't know. I don't know. First time I've been out of my house in Florida. So it's kind of
we're about
great
what,
to be
40
here.
minutes away?
Yeah, about 40
Oh.
minutes, 45 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
But down here, it's like a lifetime sometimes.
It is
right?
crazy.
It's like
Well, also too, down here though, you're getting a time machine. You know,
Yeah.
you gotta tell them about your electric car, man.
yeah, I
That's
know.
fun, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my consolidation into down to electric now. I'm saving the planet 1/4 mile run at a time.
You're going green on me.
Going green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing going green is you got to check your shorts in that car
Well,
because
yeah,
man,
yeah,
it's
it's not
crazy. It's a
green.
fast. It's not green.
That's definitely not green.
It's a
I
fast
scared
car.
you a little on
Yeah,
that.
he took me for a little ride. I'm not going to be right for a week. I'm going to have to call a lawyer about my whiplash.
Oh god.
See, it started
that was
already.
fun. Yeah,
See?
it was fun.
All right, thank you and good night.
The look on your face was just stunning. You had that.
That was
that look,
stunning.
yeah.
That's a good word for tonight. Stunning.
I pooped. That was the look.
The acceleration was like, okay, this is going to be painful.
Yeah, it is fun.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah. Well, you know, you have an amazing car yourself. Love your car, man.
It's a
like,
guzzler, you know. It's a Dodge Challenger. It's fun. It's loud. It's like my trumpet playing, loud and obnoxious.
Yeah.
Nothing efficient about it. You know, it's like, you know.
Fast, loud.
Yeah.
Great looking car though.
Yeah,
That's a
no, I'm
great
very
looking
happy
car.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got the white one, man. You got the.
Yeah, it's brave.
Yeah.
It's a brave. It's
Well,
a
you're
brave
Florida,
color.
like you're
Flo-
officially
yeah,
an old
I'm
man. You're
officially
driving a
old now.
white car in Florida.
That's it. That's it. Anything else I have, I'm just painting white. That's the end of it. Yeah. No, it's true though. And I can't believe how quiet it is. I'm used to.
Tell them what it is. Can we say?
It's a Tesla. It's a
Tesla,
model Tesla. Yeah, Tesla. And oddly enough, it has a feature in the car called karaoke.
Come on.
Swear, I did it the other night on the porch show, live on the porch, and
you?
went out in the car at 1 o'clock in the morning, was screaming my head off, embarrassing myself, sounding like absolute ass, and just like blowing my throat out, but having so much fun, like a kid in a candy store.
Wow.
Oh, look at this tune, Bohemian Rhapsody,
Yeah.
and it's got this feature that you can. It's got the words on the screen. It's got a
Really?
whole. Yeah, it's pretty fun. We'll have to do a show one night. You and I will
think?
go in the car and have some fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's just talk about that because that's one thing. So you've had this for it's been how many years? 2 years now? You going on 2 years?
Live on the Porch is 2017. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I
almost
remember
the
you-
end of 16 to
Jeez.
17. Yeah.
So he's the first guy. I don't know anybody prior to you, bro, that was doing. You were bringing the consumer right into your living room.
Yeah.
And bringing him and playing music, man. So he's way pre-pandemic. I mean, I remember seeing it. I was like, man, how did that start? Man?
Honestly, it was just like kind of I was outside with my dog Max, and just sitting on I was like sitting outside,
Really?
and it was like I was going to start out, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll invite other people in. I had my acoustic guitar. It was one of those nights where you're just like hanging out. It's late, and I feel like playing and whatever. And I turned the thing on, and Max sat next to me, and I put the video camera on, and people started signing on. And then people would say like, oh, you should do that again, or you should. And it just became one of those
Impromptu.
You know,
Just
impromptu kind of things, definitely, yeah. And it became more regular as time went on. And of course, then my nature is to just try to make everything perfect. And
Yeah, you're a
it
perfectionist.
started out as like
You don't know Mike Delguidice, he's a perfectionist.
Yeah,
Which is great. That's why you're a great musician.
or I'm just completely deranged.
Well, we got a little of both that.
Yeah,
we all
yeah,
have. We
yeah.
both
You
have
got-
that.
you have that
they
yourself,
got the
Mr.
arranged
Fisher.
part together.
Yeah, you have that yourself there, Mr. Fisher.
But so it was impromptu. I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
realize-
It just started like that, and then I started to really like just enjoy. I enjoyed the company.
Yeah.
And that really, that went on for a couple of years, and it was scattered, and I started working with the sound and getting things a little bit better each week, and there was some dreadful, horrible episodes. The learning curve of doing online stuff, the streams is
God bless you.
oh my God, yeah, so lots of failure in order to get it where you even can live with it, let alone whatever. But started out that way, and then before you know it, this all started to happen earlier this year, and it was almost as if, like so many other times in my life, things in my life where I think God or the universe was preparing me for something, and preparing something for something, and it was right there, and it really is. It's brought a lot of love to me from everybody.
That's great.
Everybody always says, "Oh, I'm so glad you do it because we look forward to it or whatever." But I don't think everybody really understands how
You
important
have
it
to
is.
do it.
For me too to have everybody watching and
Wow.
yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I seen you do it from the 17, 18, and Steven and I were always talking, man, it's really a great concept. And when the pandemic happened, we were bored too, and no one was doing anything.
Yeah.
So as a whim, Steven and I was like, let's just do one or two. And after the second one, and they were a mess.
Yeah,
like
of
you
course.
said.
That's
And they're still a mess. I mean, it's, come on, I'm on it. It's a mess, what I mean? Yours is organized.
Please, it's birthed in mess.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, look what you created.
Yeah.
But,
No doubt.
I see how hard it is. And, we're doing it because it's joyful for us.
Yeah.
And I think as musicians, it's another outlet.
Yeah, and I think it's always great to let people understand that, like a lot of times, you watch musicians or you watch whatever, and you see the finished product, you see this polished thing that's at the end of it all, and really the truth is the growth is in the process, and watching how bad it can be, and that was, I think, Live on the Porch was more of a, like, people are used to seeing us up on the stage, maybe with Billy or with doing shows, and everything's just so right. Yeah. And I really wanted to show everybody that no, it's not right. So I mean, there's a thing about the porch that's very
organic.
real, which is just organic to the point of I don't practice songs. I'd rather make mistakes. I want people to understand, watch me maybe figure something out.
Work through it.
Work through.
Yeah, work through it.
Working through the badness is like part of that process.
That's a name for a song. Working through my badness.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be a long song. That'd be a really
never-ending
long song.
competition.
Yeah, it's gonna be Stairway to Heaven on steroids right there.
Oh man.
Yep.
So if anybody hasn't checked out Live on the Porch, I'm sure everybody has, but if you haven't, specific nights, I know it's a couple times a week sometimes. It depends on your schedule, right?
Yeah, it was. It was like every Wednesday, every Saturday. Then the summer came around and started doing I got to do at least a few gigs, up on the island. So it's been down to just Saturdays now.
Okay,
so Saturdays. I'm not sure if I'm going to bring back the Wednesday and Saturday. It started to get like a bit much, the preparation and the voice.
I don't know what you're talking about, Mike.
Yeah, I know.
I have no idea. I don't even sing. I blow on a brass pipe and I'm tired the next day.
Yeah, and then there's and then there's the after show where there's 200-300 people and we're all just sitting around like laughing and joking and I mean it's unbridled reality. I'm brave to do what I do at
You
my
are
house,
brave. I mean, I see
live,
you in the
but-
pool. My favorite is when you're floating in the pool. I'm like, man, look at this guy. That's
that's the life. And then right in front of me, my little dog will take a crap right on the floor and eat it.
Perfect. Yeah.
Like right in front of everyone. This is what. Yeah. Welcome to my house. Welcome to this perfect.
And you say you didn't pay to see this, so my dog can do whatever he
You get what
wants.
you get. You don't get upset.
Yeah,
That's it.
But let's go back, man. I got to ask you stupid questions because I don't know this. I know you a long time. What got you? I mean, what was your first instrument, and who got you started in music?
I think it would have to be. I'd have to give credit to my I mean, my family was musical in the sense of what they listened to. They loved music.
Okay.
Nobody's really. My brother Joe played some trumpet, but we had.
See, there's always a trumpet
Yeah,
player
always
in
a
the
trumpet
house.
player.
You know,
And he's
There
always
it
the
is.
most miserable.
Yeah, he's like, I want to kill everybody.
I'm just kidding. But my brother John had our neighbor across the street. We had 2 houses next to us. So we had across the street was Billy Dwyer's house. It was the Dwyer residence. Great people. So I still love them very much. And across the street was a guy we aptly called Fat John. That was our nickname for him.
Not Fat Albert, Fat John.
Fat John, and that's what everybody called him in his circle, so we were allowed to. But he was this huge guy who would play drums and sing.
Oh, cool.
And Billy Dwyer across the street, he had a band.
Oh, wow.
He was a drummer. So
Neighborhood.
drums was the first instrument that I took lessons on.
Really?
People say, "Do you read music?" Whatever. I can get through drum charts easier than I could get through like
Because you were trained when you
notation.
were
'Cause
young.
yeah, and yeah, exactly.
Your head,
It was-
you
it-
sponge.
Yeah. So I mean, Billy was, and then Billy had a band. It was John Byrne on guitar. I'm still good friends with my
cool.
doctor.
Oh, wow.
Great guitar player. Joe Cassiano, lead singing. Pat Byrne on bass. And I would walk out of my house. I would hear them start to jam. You could hear them down the road, and I would go by the basement window, and I would just watch them through the window. That got me into whatever.
The music.
And then I would sing in church sometimes. I think with my grandmother. I don't remember any of it. She would tell me this.
Really?
Gospel stuff, and I would sing along with radio and be like, I loved music, I just hadn't gotten into it yet. And then one time they asked me, they were like, I was like, can I just come down and watch? So Marie Dwyer, who was Billy's mother, she's like, all right, you little pain in the ass, come on down. She was great, like a second mom to me over there.
Yeah.
Let me down there, and they were playing Highway Star by Deep Purple.
Oh, wow.
And I think Joe Cassiano gave me the microphone and just this opening part was this huge rock scream.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. So I did the scream, and they
wow.
were all like, "Oh yeah!" And I think that was it for me. Like I remember, oh, you should do that. You should sing. That kind of thing. And that was the inspiration. So I had two bands right next to me that I was really intrigued to go and watch them play. And that got me fired up, and all the music that they were playing became the music that I would listen to.
Yeah.
Everything from Rush to
Zeppelin,
progressive rock. And then at my house, you had my brother Joe was really into pop music. My brother John was into the metal music.
Okay.
My father was into everything. So, country.
Shout out to your pop, too.
Shout out to
we
Dad.
just talked to him earlier.
Love you, Pop.
He was
Love you,
hanging
Pop.
with us earlier
The
for
best.
a second. Yeah,
My
Bob.
dad's the best. And so many, he listened to everybody. So I think it was just rounded. I was around it a lot. And that was it. So I took some drum lessons for a while and then realized I'm a singer. It's going to be a little, little different. So I'll continue to do that. But then I grabbed the guitar and I got this, my father bought me this little Bee Gee guitar, like plastic guitar with a picture of the Bee Gees on it. And started fiddling around. Took a couple of. He played Staying. Yeah, I stayed alive. Played a couple. I took a couple lessons with a guy in Sound Beach. His name was Steve Subject. Sound Beach Music.
Oh, cool.
Did that for a little while, and then realized that I really didn't want to learn what people were teaching. I just wanted to kind of go off and figure stuff out and use my own ear, and it kind of went from there. And I did a 6th grade talent show. We did Tom Sawyer. Okay, by Rush. I had been playing for maybe a year. Me and this guy, Dennis Capella, that I went to school with, biggest guy in the school, big tough guy in the school. He lived on my next block, and Mike Ponticelli, a good friend of mine. So we get together to practice. I go over to the drummer's house, and I'm like, this drummer's going to play Rush. He's going to play Neil Peart. He's 10 years old. What are we doing over here? How's this going to happen? I go over his house. We walk into the garage. There's nothing, no drums.
No kidding.
So I'm like, what are we doing? Are we going to, he's got garbage cans. He
No kidding.
set up. He never played on a drum set yet before. And I was cracking up. We did a couple, and I could tell he could play.
Yeah.
A good rhythm. And then we went to the school. We did our talent show, and people went nuts after.
Wow,
and I remember thinking to myself, because I was that square peg in the round hole in school.
Yeah, me too.
I was kind of shy and not. The world was too cruel to me. School was cruel.
Yeah.
You saw the not to put it down, but you saw the worst of, testing waters and kids being mean to each other. Stuff that I just was like, do I really got to do this every day? And music seemed to be the thing that, wow, I guess they liked something about me. Maybe that's that.
That was
Maybe
the
I'll
common
just,
denominator, right? It's crazy.
Yeah, it got kind of gave me a place.
Yeah.
Gave me a little bit. If it wasn't going to be academically so much, it was going to be that.
This is what I'm going to do.
This is what I'll do.
And so in 6th grade, you knew it.
6th grade, yeah.
So would it be fair to say, because this leads to my next question, did that make you settle in saying, okay, I'm a singer, drummer, or am I a drummer singer, or did you already in 6th grade was there a definite defining line to say I'm going to settle on one thing, or were you just scattered still?
Yeah, I think I was still scattered. Yeah, I was always as a kid. You know,
Really?
like one week it was like I was crazy into baseball. Next week, when it came to instruments, it was kind of similar like that.
Really?
And, yeah, and I think I came to realize down the road that I was a singer first.
But
So
that was
I
the first thing you realized.
Yeah, that
was
I
a
needed
singer.
I'm singing. So, but I needed something to always accompany my voice. So.
Case in point, your guitar. and
Case in
piano.
point, a guitar. So the guitar became I'm sitting in my room learning Zeppelin solos and
Yeah, man.
my MXR distortion box and my, just like every other kid, shedding in the
going through it.
room and learning the craft.
You know, like I said, I know you a long time. We never had this talk. And
No,
that's why,
no, I don't
and
ever.
it's cool. And I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe some of your fans know, but now they know.
Oh, yeah, no, it's true. We don't get to chat enough.
Yeah. So that being said, let's say hello to Steven. How you doing, man? We have some people hanging out with us tonight. We have any hellos and anything going on over there?
Oh yeah, man. All good here. We got quite a good hang going out in the chat. So I wanted to thank everybody for joining. Mostly it's everybody just kind of chiming in, saying hello, talking to each other, enjoying the hang a little bit. For those that just joined, you will have the opportunity to put questions in the chat. I'm making note of them as we go through, as I just said. The important thing is everybody just sits back and relax. Nobody's in a hurry. We're all just hanging out.
A little pressure, huh?
A lot of
Sit back
pressure.
and relax.
Sit
yeah.
back there, relax.
Yeah, it was a couch.
You relax.
It was a couch. Well, that being said, I guess we should play a little bit, huh?
Yeah, let's play a song. Which
So-
one are we gonna do?
Let's do the Louis thing.
Yeah.
So
let's
yeah,
go. All right.
so we're gonna do. This is a tune, and Mike, you could probably talk about it too. And when we got together, we've been wanting to do this for a while.
Yes.
Talk-
yeah, we've
do-
been,
do-
we've
yeah,
been
been
talking
talking
about
for
this
a
for a
long
long
time.
time. Yeah.
And I remember we were in New Orleans with Billy Joel's band, playing at the Thunderdome. It was the Superdome, but
Superdome.
it's changed now. It's called Smoothie King Center. And I remember at soundcheck, Billy always does a lot of tunes geographically from the cities that we're in, or artists that were from the cities. We try to play their material, and Louis Armstrong came up, and so he turns to me, and we start playing off the cuff. What a Wonderful World. And at that time, I always loved Louis. Always loved Louis.
I remember you doing that solo in the rehearsal, and at first you were playing it kind of to the melody, to the being respectful, obviously, to whatever Billy was going to sing, or
Sure.
when you were. But man, when he just told you to take it off, and I remember coming up to you after and being like, I can't believe what you just played.
Oh,
Like, it
thanks.
was
It was
really
so bad, I can't believe it.
I can't believe he lets you stay in this band.
Yeah, I feel horrible.
If this is any clue as to how I got hired, then then there we go. You know what I mean? It's just bad. So but that was amazing.
Oh, thanks,
I
man.
hope we bring that back when we.
Yeah, no,
we
we
come
did it
back.
we did it a few times,
did.
and what was amazing though is I remember you saying that, and Tommy. I'm thinking, I have Tommy like being a rock guitar player and knowing every rock tune imaginable, and Dave being great pop piano player but having a lot of classical chops, and just I'm like saying to myself, am I really doing a imitation of Louis Armstrong? And like when Billy said play it like yourself, I thought about Maynard Ferguson, and I'm like, Maynard was a play it yourself. And you and I talked about this week. Let's do tunes and play them like ourselves.
Yeah, just play them.
Just play them and
Just
have
play.
fun, and just whether it be a Billy tune or a Louis tune. So anyway, it's a wonderful world, and we're gonna play it like
and up until
ourselves.
today, you thought I was going to play it on piano.
Yeah, now you're gonna
Playing
play
on
guitar.
See,
I'm
make it
totally
different,
confused.
which means I'm
on the same
I'm
key.
really not going to know what the hell I'm doing. So this is.
It's loose.
see trees green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Well, the colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, and also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying how do you do. They're really saying I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Come on, Carlito. Colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, but also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying how do you do. They're really saying I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yeah, Carlito. Yeah, man.
Oh,
That's a great tune.
Two Long Island morons playing Louis Armstrong.
Yeah, well, it's you know. I see trees of green. You know, I didn't want to go there.
No, it's it's only one. That's great. You know, again, like I said earlier on the intro, whatever you do, and you said it best when you were talking just about even playing this tune in New Orleans, is you want to give respect to whoever you're doing. Like I had to give respect to Louis.
Yeah.
But then also you bring your own thing, and if you're lucky enough, you have your own thing, you know. And when I teach students and stuff, it's like you want to have a big pot, a big stew pot, and make a gumbo of, you know, you might like Rush, you might like Van Halen, you might like this singer, I might like Freddie Hubbard, I might like Dizzy. You throw all those guys in a pot, and you stir it up.
Sure.
You can cop their styles,
Yep.
and give good due to their styles, but then ultimately form your own sound.
Yeah, I think it's and that's the thing about the tricky thing about always doing cover bands or tribute bands is that, you know, are you Are you a mock act? You know.
Memorex, live or Memorex?
Yeah, live or Memorex. And I think what I've learned over the years is just, are you capturing the essence? I think it's the essence of it.
The vibe,
You know,
yeah.
because I don't think you ever want to, you know, be somebody else. There's already somebody else. They're already that person. So you do what you can, and you're right. I think it's definitely a mix of all your different influences that you grew up with and you whatever, and you. I don't even think that you consciously throw them in there. I think that they just come out.
They come out no matter what.
No matter what, they're there.
But if people are trying to figure it out, like I remember young, like you had the analytical kids. I wasn't one of those guys. I was like, hey, I like this, and I tried to cop that style.
Yeah.
And I know you and I are very similar in that way, and Billy Joel's the same way, and Tommy's the same way, and there's a lot of us that have that mentality of just do it, and come out. But the analytical students that are like, how did you learn that? I'm like, well, figure out how to learn it, and then physically put that style in a pot, so to speak, and be able to pull from them. I think it's important, but
no doubt,
it's definitely right brain, left brain stuff, and it's way over my brain.
Well, I think it's overwhelming for anybody. And a lot of people, there's always that thing about playing covers, writing originals, and I think so many people, unless you're a singer songwriter, so many of the artists that are out there right now, you know, they're singing other people's songs. A lot of people don't write their own music. A lot of the artists that we know out there, from Whitney Houston all the way down the line, never really wrote any of their own songs that you hear on the radio. So they're kind of covering stuff too. So then it's, you become a recording artist. That's a recording artist. Yeah, not a composer, but a recording artist. Yeah, and you make it your own. And I've seen you do that so many times in concert. Even when you do Zanzibar, it's just it's uncanny. Like you grab the essential pieces for people to know that it's the Freddie solo, and then it's like, no, but this is me, and this is and you kill it.
Thank you, man. We're only as good as the person we're working for. And he gives us enough rope to hang ourselves.
Absolutely.
Which I love.
Really? Man. You want the stage? Are you sure you want it? Go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah.
He's done it with everybody.
Crash and burn.
But it's a great learning experience, right?
Yeah, no, it is. It is. And he's the guy when it comes to, off the cuff, and not practicing stuff and just he loves the edge. He calls it the edge. I want to have it the edge.
It's got an edge on it.
It's got an edge on it because he doesn't know where the next chord's going.
Yeah. And you know what? It makes you human because if it's a crash and burn moment, it's okay.
It's right. It's real.
Right.
It's a real deal. There was a few on my guitar hand before.
It happens all.
I'm like transposing from the piano to the guitar, going, "Oh my God!" I play it in F on here, but I'm playing it in C position on the guitar. I'm like, "Oh my God, this is not good."
It's all good, man.
Fun.
No, it's all good. So speaking of that, I want to go back. We talked about tribute bands. We're going to hit tribute bands, but so I want to talk about the first band I heard you play with. Was that your band, Kid Gloves, and how did that come about? It was a cover band in New York, in Long Island, in New York City, right?
It was a Long Island cover band. Kenny Sino, Pete Senorino, Mike Sorrentino. They already had the band.
They did.
Yeah,
and I remember. Was CPI? Was that a place that used to play?
CPI.
That's where I used to play out. Remember, it was out in the Hamptons.
Oh yeah.
And you guys played inside.
Yes.
And I used to play outside. That's why now it just hit me.
You playing out
with Harry Chapin, Jim Chapin, Harry Chapin's father.
Okay.
The singer-songwriter Harry Chapin. Jim Chapin was he was 80 years old. He was a drummer. We played outside. We played out in the patio playing jazz.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's where I seen you.
Yeah.
So Sorrentino was all the Italian, band.
Cintorino, Sorrentino, Sino, Delguidice, a bunch of.
So that was that band. Okay.
Yeah, and you had the good spot being outside.
A
lot of times we got stuffed in that little nook. They had a nook.
Yeah.
No air.
It was so hot.
1,000 people cramped right up to the stage, and you literally just felt like you were going to pass out in that place.
That was the joint.
That was the joint. Yeah. And everybody was back then. I think ecstasy was starting to get around.
It was bad.
So everybody was with the bottles of water, and it's a wonder. It's a wonder many people made it home.
Yeah, it was way out in the Hamptons.
Yeah, it was way out there.
You lived in the suburb. I lived in Nassau, close to Queens, man. So
you were always out. Yeah,
I was close, 10 minutes from JFK, 15, and so I remember, man, it was like the longest haul, but it was great because you had the corner room, jazz out in the patio, and there was another room too. It was like
there was like a main concert room that you could play, and we did that a few times too. And then we would play the Nook with we did that at a different time with another band, Mr. Clean and the Fantastics. It was just kind of a derivative of Kid Gloves.
Okay.
But Kid Gloves was a lot of fun. And I got to tell you, that was a great band and really cut my teeth, gig wise with that band. I was playing bass a lot, bass and singing a lot.
Okay.
Pete Senorito was singing lead also. He was the main singer. I came in after the fact.
So you were playing bass.
I was playing bass
I remember
and
playing,
singing.
But you sang
Yeah.
a few tunes.
Yeah,
I remember. I was like, man.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think that was kind of the
Early
idea was
90s.
to get help Pete out a little too, give him a break. He was singing so much, and
Was that in the early 90s? Would you say?
Yeah, that was early.
Like
That was
92?
90s. No, it was actually after that. It was.
Was it 94?
Was it that far? Was it that long?
It's got to be a long time ago.
All right, I was thinking
I
like
don't know, maybe
97. I was thinking like 97.
Could have been too.
But yeah, you could have
Maybe.
been. It could have been. What
I
you
was
say.
I was there. There was a couple guys I worked with out there, but it was always that drummer.
Yeah,
They had
yeah,
different bands, but I remember seeing or maybe it was McKay's too, because you played McKay's.
Mulcahy's and we did, yeah. Kid Gloves was great. Molly Bloom's was our best gig. We did a Thursday night in Smithtown, and it was mobbed every night.
Really?
Great memories with that band, like really
When it
great
was a
musical
scene,
memories.
It was a
scene, yeah.
Long Island was a
I mean,
scene-
when
had
you
a
could
scene.
fill up a room on a Thursday and play it, it was just what a great way to and playing with Mike, so I'm playing bass with Mike. We had a pretty
Sorrentino.
solid rhythm section.
Yeah,
it was fun. Mike
Pocket
lays
man.
it down, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, and it's funny because Sino and Sorrentino, what was the bridge to the gap to leave Kid, and how did you decide? And I think that you probably discovered tribute bands before it was a fad, because and not that you were tribute, but you were playing Billy tunes. So how did that whole big shot come? And you had Sorrentino and Cancino. How did that translate, and what was the thinking of that?
I think that Kid Gloves. I think they were already ready to kill each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think like in every rock band, after a certain amount of years, everybody's just. So I may have been the last Jenga piece to just go in and just me go. Oh, what about this? Ding! I remember the first rehearsal that I did with them, and walked in there, and they were just hysterical. Like they were like learning songs. They had to be so particular about learning songs. No one complimenting each other. And I just walked in the door, First rehearsal, second rehearsal, something. I'm watching them. It's a couple of arguments. Kenny's arguing with Mike. Mike's arguing with Pete, whatever. They're going back and forth. And I remember I just looked over. I said, has anybody ever heard of positive reinforcement? Like, hey, you did that really good. Like
good.
building somebody up before you
knock
know.
them down.
So, but they were always. But you know what? Kenny was great at running that band. They all ran it in their own way, but Kenny really, kept that ship together and really, that was the days of sending out postcards for gigs. There was no emails.
Yeah.
There was no.
None of
It
that.
was legit mailing lists, and they worked real hard. That was a great band. I was proud to get in that band. I used to watch them all the time, and I loved them. I thought Pete was an amazing singer, and it was great to get into that. It really was. And we were playing 5 nights a week. I played with them for maybe a year and a half, and we never took off.
Wow.
I mean, it was like we
steady.
really worked. Yeah.
So
And
the
then
band
after,
fell apart.
Yeah, the band eventually
After
tanked,
a year and a half. Yeah.
tanked. Yep, there was a separation as
As it
bands
happens.
as happened, and I had heard of a band called Ants Marching.
Huh.
And I'd heard that they were a Dave Matthews tribute band. Now,
Really?
I'd never heard of tribute bands up to that point.
Yeah.
Any tribute band I ever heard was a Vegas act.
Yeah.
With the
It was-
wigs and
yeah,
the
it was
whatever. And
some
I
type
was
of
not.
thing.
I was not into. And I don't put any. Hey, listen, if you could work, you can work. God bless. It's just that
some
wasn't
money,
my
yeah,
thing.
it's easy, yeah.
I didn't want to go that route.
Sure.
But I was already playing, Billy doing piano bar for a lot of years. I did piano bar for maybe 12 years, which is, I think, where Kenny saw me.
Oh,
Kenny
okay.
and
I
Mike
didn't know
came
that.
down to a
So it's
little
before
restaurant.
Kid Gloves. You were already
Before
doing
Kid
a piano
Gloves.
bar thing.
Doing piano bar for a long time. Kenny and Mike walked in the room. Every player was like, "We're gonna get you in the band."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I play bass." Yeah. Oh, great.
There it is, yeah.
And I think they were looking at that time to make a move, so it worked out well. And and so I heard about Ants Marching. I was like, "You mean they're playing only one artist the whole night?" Like it was unheard of on Long
Yeah,
Island.
it was-
Top 40
nobody was doing it.
Nobody was doing it.
Nobody.
So I jumped right in. I was like, "Well, I already do Billy."
Let's do Billy.
Yeah. At first, it was going to be Big Shot. Was not going to be Big Shot. It was going to be Wings Over Long Island. I was going to do a McCartney
Really?
tribute,
Oh, wow. That would have been cool.
which would have been fun too. Yeah, but Billy, come on,
Long
it's
Island.
Long Island.
Yeah,
It was
Long
Billy.
Island guy.
Yeah, and I went and met up with an old drummer friend of mine and said, look, I want to do a tribute band thing, and
Wow.
I heard they're doing this over here. Let's give it a shot. And
Yeah.
and I got to say, because of the music, and because the appetite was and the environment was right on Long Island at the time, we never had to build anything. It was
there.
right there from the beginning, you know. So Billy,
Plus, that was a great
testimony to Billy's music.
exactly.
You know,
I mean,
it's,
Long Island or in the metropolitan area, people always ask us when we're touring, it's like, "What's your favorite audience for Billy Joel?" And I always think it's his backyard. It's the Garden.
Yeah.
It's always the New York
Absolutely.
vibe. It's
The
because
best.
we grew up with that.
So,
Every,
yeah.
and how can you not
Yeah.
like Billy Joel?
Well,
if
for
you're from
guys
that
like
area?
us, watching
Growing up, and I don't know. So, wow, that's very cool. I didn't realize that you were doing a piano bar thing before that. And
a long time. Oh God, I was done.
yeah,
I couldn't do it no more. Yeah, I mean, a lot of years in piano.
did
bar.
you? Wow.
A lot. Yeah, a lot of alone in a restaurant. At the end of the night, people dangling dollar bills. You know, piano man
Yeah.
with the dollar bill.
No.
Get the
I know it.
Yeah.
A dollar.
Yeah.
Had a couple zeros.
yeah, exactly. You got a Sharpie?
Well, actually, talking about moving forward, do we still have Chicago and our friends here? Are we talking to each other or people out there?
Yeah,
Steven?
let's
What's
chat.
going on,
Yeah.
man?
I'm here, guys. I'm here with about 2,500 comments so far.
All right.
I got questions from some people. Whenever you guys want to hit a couple.
Yeah, let's hit them.
Yeah, let's do it.
Night's young.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. When you guys were doing Wonderful World, we had a couple people asking. Obviously you guys have played.
Stop playing.
Well, yeah. I mean, there were a couple that said that, but no. No, it was.
Time for us to go now. Or what?
No, it was basically, reference to you guys have played together so much that you kind of instinctively know where each other is going to go. But when you guys sit down and look at a tune like that for a show like this, what goes through your mind in creating even a simple arrangement? How do you go about that?
Pray.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Mike has a different opinion. I'll just shoot my thing is we sat here, we came around 5 o'clock, started playing at 5:30. We had a list of maybe 10 tunes, and we just played a couple tunes and, just played maybe an A section or a verse of a tune, and whether it went good or bad, and we just kind of weeded it out, and whatever felt natural was like, this is what we got to do.
Yeah.
So, the tunes that we really had to think about, we both looked at each other and was like, all right, let's kind of move on. But I think Mike's musical ability is so vast where when you're playing with a great musician, it's not what he's playing at you, it's how he's listening and how I'm listening to him. Yeah. And it's a conversation. So I think that has a lot to do with the way I think I play with you or any great musician. A great musician is just as good as a listener as putting out the music. So to us, to me, it was very simple. Okay, I think we should do this, and you reiterated it. Basically,
yeah, just kind of feeling it as you go, keeping it simple as possible, and the one thing obviously is always for me laying down the chords is just making sure I get them right to start. But and again, intentionally, I think this is we didn't really go through any songs. We didn't. We were just kind of like we touched on like a little section here, okay, because you want to leave that anticipation, that edge that Billy calls it. I think is
the edge, or I look at to me it's the jazz. It's the unknown moment.
Yes,
it's like,
yeah.
Whatever
Okay.
happens.
Yeah.
But we did get technical on one or two tunes. We're like, I got to nail this part here because I think it would really work good with his melody. And so we worked a couple things, but it wasn't like predetermined things. I just think it's innate because we've played music long enough. Like we said on the phone, if we can't play 5 or 6 tunes together, we shouldn't be playing.
Doing this. It's time to wrap it up. Yeah.
Time to go.
Yeah.
Hopefully that answered that question.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. We had a question from Donna. Carl, how long have you been playing?
Not long enough.
Yeah, last Tuesday.
I started yesterday.
How long have you not been playing for?
My career is over tonight.
Yeah, we actually had people asking about both of your starts. Did you guys both start as a kid?
Yeah, I mean, I started when I was 5. I'm gonna be 49 next week. So I wasn't shredding at 5. My first instrument, like you, was drums, believe it or not. Okay. And I busted imagine as I had an anger management problem. I would
never know that.
No, not me, right?
No.
It's my haircut.
Absolutely not.
I busted every drum head. My dad's like, what are you doing? But my dad was a wonderful trumpet player, and I wanted to be like my dad. And he was very apprehensive about me playing his horn because, like Dizzy Gillespie,
Because you saw what you did to the drums.
Yeah, you seen what I did. I bent my own bell. But some days this thing could be your best friend, and then the next day it could be your worst enemy. You're never going to know what you're going to get with these hunk of brass. But yeah, so whatever 49 minus 5 is, you know, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning and having fun doing it. What about you?
Yeah, same. Early on, I think. Yeah, like I think I was probably 8 or 9 when I started.
Wow.
5. I mean, definitely 5 when I was singing. But as far as an instrument, I think probably 3rd grade, 4th grade.
And then 6th grade is, like you said, was when
Yes.
the light bulb went off.
This is it. Yep.
Yeah. So there it is, Steve-O.
Yeah.
Awesome. Got a couple happy birthdays early for you, Carl, coming in next week. So
Thank you. I
wanted
got,
to
the
pass
gray, I
those.
got the gray hair to prove it now. It matches my gray jacket.
We're going to be the same age for at least 4 months.
When's your birthday?
March.
Oh, yeah. March, okay. All right.
Yeah.
49. Yeah, so next year. For you.
Yeah, stop.
Yeah,
I don't want to
hello.
talk about it. I'm getting
Hello.
anxiety talking about it. I don't want to think about it.
But thank you for the wishes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
What day? What day, Carl?
Mine is on the 13th of December.
All right.
So I think it's next Sunday. So I don't send gifts, just send cash. It works out better.
Yeah. Especially now.
yeah, no, I'm
All
kidding.
good.
It's
No,
all good.
it's all good. Thank God we're good.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
God for Billy.
we're very
Thank
lucky
God
to
for
have,
our boss.
we have the best boss in the world, don't
Yeah,
we?
we do. We really do.
And that's part of the reason why we're hanging out. Because if we, you know, I mean, he's given us opportunities to go out and play.
Yeah,
I mean, here we are.
I know.
We wouldn't have been able to do what we do if we didn't have him.
No. And
There's no way.
I can attribute it back to even the piano bar days. You know, without his music and playing his stuff, I mean, there is no career.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, we're blessed. We really are.
That's it. Well, speaking of blessed, so you have one more question? If not, I have a nice segue.
Go for it, man. It's all you.
All right. So speaking of blessed, so we talked about, you know, we always talk. It always comes around Billy, and we love Billy, and you know, I want to change gears a minute. So we hit Louis Armstrong. Speaking of blessed, this tune is very, for lack of a better word, I don't get emotional much, and this tune hit me in my gut. You know, I lost my dad 4 years ago, and it hit me in my gut when I first heard it. And then, you know, talking about heroes and fathers and you know, family. And then you look at where we're at now in the state of the pandemic and the video that you put of the frontline workers and the policemen and the nurses and, you know, this composition of yours, Where Did the Heroes Go? Is that the full-length name of the song?
Yeah.
It's just, if you haven't checked this tune out, you can go on YouTube. Is YouTube the best place?
Yeah.
Where do you go to
can
check it
find
out?
on YouTube. Yeah, for sure. The video's on there. Yep. Or on the Facebook page.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man. And so the lyrics, everything about the tune is very special. And I'm glad that you mentioned, you know, you said, it might be cool with trumpet. And I'm glad you mentioned it because it's not a typical tune you think trumpet's going to be on.
Yeah, I know. And the funny thing is there are sections in the song where I really have not landed on what instrument should be there.
Still.
And it was, yeah. And,
Wow.
And as we were playing earlier, I was like, wow, this really does sound, you know.
Oh, don't build it up too much.
Well, yeah, I'll have to use it then. Yeah.
I'm very expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
High maintenance.
Yeah, definitely high maintenance. I wrote my little cheat sheet. But yeah, we like, let's play a tune. You want to
Yeah,
do a
yeah,
tune?
let's play it.
So we're going to, and are you playing guitar in this too?
Yeah.
Can you also, technically, can I have more of a mic in the monitor? I'm going to need more guitar mic in the monitor because he was a little very low. I don't know if that's one of your things. Whoever's,
Is that here, guys? Or
play a little bit and see what we got. Talking about On the Edge. But this is Mike's composition called Where Did the Heroes Go? And it's very appropriate. Yeah, turn him up if you don't mind. And our friend, he's coming in, and this guy is one of the cats, Ronnie D.
I didn't dress. Man.
He didn't dress, but he's very responsible for us being here. Ronnie's a wonderful singer and piano player. Not actually piano player, but really great tenor player. There you go. That's good.
You got it?
Yep.
All right.
Thank you, Ron.
It looks great.
Thank you.
It's
all,
beautiful.
It's all about the look. I got plenty of looks. All right, let me get my stuff together here.
You gonna do the flugel?
You want the flugel? That's right. See, I didn't write this
I want the
down.
flugelhorn on this. I think that's the
Don't yell at me.
that's the one. Hey, I won't. Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. Hey there, son, let me talk to you. Let me tell you things that I need to teach you. It may take some time, please bear with me. Maybe when you hear it, you would understand me a little more. Hey there, Daddy, you remember too Patty's Day Parade, Tyler Avenue, rocking on your shoulders to the sound of drums. Nearly 7 years old, but every ounce your son. Where do the good ones go? Where do the heroes go? Hey there, Johnny, you remember how we'd be playing wiffle ball till the sun went down. But when you got older, then you went your way. Johnny, nothing lasts forever but the things we say. Where did my hero go? Hey there, Joey, guess I never thanked you. When Johnny went away, there was always you. And all of those years, you were all I had. But people grow different, Joe, you understand. Talking about Superfly Joe. Where do the heroes go? Hey there, Kobe, let's get back to you. Hey, good looking, he is looking at you. Little Prince Deli with the golden curls. Wanna wrap you in my arms through this crazy world. No, I wasn't there when you were born. Tried to forget it, but the hurt's so strong. The past is past and better left behind. When all that remains are the treasures we find. And hey there, son, are you mad at me? Has it ever crossed your mind that you're just like me? I want to meet the man that you're gonna be. Leave out all the bad, take the best of me. So when your eyes grow old, you'll think of me, I hope. Where do the heroes go? That was beautiful, man.
Beautiful, Mike.
Great job, Carl. Loved that solo.
Thank you.
We recorded that, didn't we?
No. By the way, I don't think no one heard it. I think we lost our wireless connection.
Yeah, right in the middle. We both floated off.
The best thing you ever played. No one heard it.
Oh,
That's
man.
great.
That was
It's a
special.
wonderful composition, bro. It really is. Again, it tells a story.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of my jazz guys are the purest jazz guys, which I love. I love jazz. They're great storytellers. You and I talked about this folk music. They're great storytellers.
Yeah.
Great pop music storytellers. Classical music talking about establishing a theme. It's establishing a vibe and mood.
Yeah.
It's music.
Yeah.
And how you put all that stuff together, man, is just separates the girls from the women from the girls and the men from the boys, man.
Yeah.
And
Well, thank you. I appreciate
it's
it.
wonderful.
You know, songs sometimes are created out of necessity. You know, where
Really?
it's gotta God,
Purge it.
whatever. And yeah, sometimes it's almost like the world of texting, where sometimes it's easier to text something than you would say to somebody to their
True.
face.
Yeah, like I hate you.
Yeah, you're an absolute asswipe, and I don't want to talk to you. You don't want. No, but so I think lyrics are like that, where sometimes it's easier to get stuff out that you'd want to say to people,
Okay.
and you say it in that kind of a general way, and hope that it, yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's cool, bro.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So we did that. I am going to shoot you a question since we are getting off my questions.
All right.
So we're going back on the thing. I run into you, wonderful Tommy Burns, guitarist, at the time music director of the band, of Billy's band. So, we're going to do, Billy had a hip operation. We were off for a while, and, we were rehearsing at the Paramount Theater in Huntington, Long Island, which was the original iMac. Remember that place?
I do.
Back in the day? That was such a great, it's a great club now, but how many acts, and I'm sure you played there when it was iMac.
No,
You never did that?
Never did, no.
Really? Yeah, it was a wonderful
Huntington
place.
was such a cultural town.
Yeah.
Like it was, and it was a town of all original music back then.
Yeah.
And back then I was still cutting my teeth. I was writing, but I wasn't at that point where I would, it was just a town into itself, onto itself.
So it's got its own vibe.
Had its own vibe,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, great venue.
Yeah, so iMac and then Paramount rehashed it.
Yeah.
And I remember Tommy saying, we're going to rehearse at the Paramount and do a show. And I got the perfect guy to come in and kind of play Billy's parts. And, I met you prior to that, but this was really a nice experience. So we're rehearsing at the Paramount and, just killing it. And throughout the years, we've had, guys from Moving Out and different piano players come and do it. But this time was different. I remember you having chops on other instruments too was very interesting. So I'd like to talk about, or actually ask you, I have my own experiences with you coming into the band that were hysterical.
Yeah.
And we could talk about. But
Yeah.
How did you approach that? And can you talk about the experience of rehearsing in the Paramount and then finding that the rehearsal was for something long-standing, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah. I mean, apparently there was some kind of mission going on that
Yes.
unbeknownst to me,
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember getting Tommy asking me about it, and then we didn't talk for a little while about it, and I thought maybe Billy wasn't going to do it.
Sure.
And then I got the phone call from BR. BR calls
Love
me
BR.
one night.
Brian
best.
Ruggles,
Brian
who
Ruggles.
doesn't know anybody, Brian Ruggles is Billy's 40. He's got to be over 40 years now.
Over 40 years,
right?
yep.
Sound reinforcement.
Friend, sound man, yeah, all that stuff.
Right hand
And I guess
man.
this had already been in the works. I didn't know this. And we had a couple of gigs. We had a long week or month with Big Shot right up until those rehearsals. And I remember I drove down from
Connecticut?
Turning Stone Casino up in Saratoga.
Saratoga Springs?
After 2 or 3 shows in a row, and then came down to do the first rehearsal.
And your Mustang.
In the Mustang, yes,
yeah,
in
man.
the Shelby.
Yep.
And I mean, to me at that point, I guess I was just there to just rehearse the band and help
Yeah.
whatever. And I remember, Chuck had already been playing with
he
me,
was
and so
with-
did Tommy. So I think it was kind of like it felt good to. I was like, good. At least some of these people know who I am,
Yeah,
and I'm
exactly,
not totally walking into something because I was, at that point felt like it was way over my head.
Well,
to a
actually, at
degree.
that
It
point
was-
too, and not to, I remember that was when you first had around that time the horn section for Big Shot.
Yes.
So I remember
Yes.
showing up on a couple gigs and rehearsals because also it wasn't just Big Shot. We were going to do Chicago.
We were
tunes.
doing we were starting. I was
cool.
starting to add a lot of
It
different.
was really cool. And we did a
Yeah.
couple gigs and did a video, and so I was like, man, this kid is. And Mark Rivera did a couple of them.
Yeah, he did.
And
yeah.
so we were both. I would call you a kid, but again, I knew of you, but I seen you in a different light because you were playing all these different styles of music. That was convincing, and you had a rapport. And so when you showed up, I was like, oh, it's cool. It's Mike. And so
Yeah.
Mark was like, oh, this is great because it makes our job easier too, as you know.
Yeah.
And still to this day, if Billy doesn't make a sound check or is late, Mike jumps behind a piano, and it's autopilot. It's wonderful to have that.
It's a really beautiful thing. It's something I treasure.
No, it's wonderful, man. So talk a little about that experience.
Yeah.
if
So
you don't mind.
we did the first couple of rehearsals, And I think there was word down the pike that Billy was going to show up on Tuesday, and we started rehearsals on a Sunday.
Okay.
And not that I should remember the date, but it was actually October 13th.
There you go.
I know the exact moment.
There you go.
And he showed up on the Tuesday, but before he had showed up, I think it was probably the night we did a couple of rehearsals, and it was probably Monday night that BR called, and all of a sudden the first quirky questions kind of came out.
Yeah.
Like he was
hey,
like,
what are you doing?
He's like,
Hey,
hey,
hey.
so, listen, this is BR, ready?
Yeah.
Hey, listen. That laugh, And so he's like, so you listen, do you know any of the stuff on guitar? Just little questions like that. And I was like, why would they be asking me about guitar? It's the night before.
Yeah.
Still, I was so green and so not thinking that there would be any room for anything like that. So, and then that morning, the next morning, it's the Tuesday morning, I get another phone call from Tommy and from BR again. And, you have a passport? So once the passport question was asked, to be honest with you, I thought it was to sound check the band on the road.
Okay.
I thought maybe
just
rehearse
like
for rehersals and for sound checks, so that do what I was doing at the rehearsals, but do it on the road to keep the band, keep you guys all sharp or whatever. But there was an energy going on. When I walked in the room that morning, it was like we rehearsed first, and then Billy showed up at lunch.
Yeah.
So we rehearsed first.
Which is our favorite part of the day.
Of course.
Lunch,
Well, you left the stage before everybody.
Well, I had to get the food right.
Yeah. You were the
no one
first
gets
one.
poisoned. I'm going to be the first one poisoned.
Right on the food
Take
line.
one for the team.
Oh, God, yeah. So, and now the hours are chipping away. It's like, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. We start at like 10 in the morning. And, all right, let's go. Everybody going to lunch. Billy's here. So now, me, you guys all at least met him. I was a mess. Yeah. I was a freaking mess. So I'm walking around, and he kind of walked in a crowded green room at the time.
Yeah, it was tight. Yeah.
It was pretty tight in there. Everybody was in there eating and doing stuff. And he came in from the other side, I remember, and he's kind of like coming through, and he was doing one of these and just, made eye contact with me, and I was like, oh, God, crap in my pants. And he walked over and he just said, hey, hey, what's Mike, up? How you doing? I was like, good. How you doing? Thanks for being here. I said, no, thanks for having me, And he goes, so what do you think? You want to maybe, get up, jam with us a little bit, play some songs on guitar and sing some vocals? And I was like, absolutely, would love it,
There you go.
So we went up for.
You showed no sign of weakness.
No, I didn't show it. I didn't show any.
You were scared. I was, but you didn't show. You were confident in
your
skills, but you were scared. Like if you weren't, there's a problem with
right.
you.
Yeah.
But I remember you were confident, which is important.
I think the important thing too is that summer, we had done a lot of trio gigs. Me, Tommy Burns, and Carmine Giglio, and it's the first time
in Freeport,
and we hung out on your boat.
I was supposed to do that gig, and there wasn't enough money, and I'd go there and eat. Rob would make me food at Bracco's.
Scallops.
Yeah. I'd take the boat because I lived on a canal.
Yeah, we hung out on the boat. That was a great night.
Guitar with Carmine and Tommy.
Yes.
So you had guitar chops.
I would have known if I didn't do those gigs, those trio gigs. I wouldn't have had those songs, at least in my hands, on the guitar. You get it? Because it would have just been on piano.
True.
And I could transpose, but at least I had that.
You would nautical mile.
Yeah. So when BR was like the nautical mile,
which is I gotta stop. It's crazy. So the nautical mile got that whole thing, got you prepped guitar wise.
Yeah.
BR found Tommy Burns on a nautical mile also.
Yes, he did.
And I lived on a nautical mile. So, it's always the nautical mile. So,
wow.
But there's three Billy stories.
And BR always tells me that story about Tommy. How he found Tommy. He's like,
Freeport Boat Show. It was a boat show, not Freeport Boat. It was a boat show, and Tommy was jamming.
Yeah.
So now you have the guitar chops.
Yeah, I remember like in the morning of them saying, BR's like, come on, where's your guitar? Do you know the songs? And I remember grabbing the acoustic earlier. I just went, yeah, of course. Like one of those looks. Ran in the back room and just did a bunch of you just cut quickly, And I walked out. I said, all right, cool. So I remember we walked out on the stage, and Billy walked out, sat at the piano, and they moved the microphone over, and they put the spot where I
of me,
right in front of you.
Hence the bell.
The bell that now goes over my head, thanks to Carl's anger,
ago,
Carl's anger management. remember I busted out just a lick of the front lick of Band on the Run, just and me and Billy started harmonizing a little, and all of a sudden it started to really get into my head, like, okay, this is I guess they've got plans, you know, like now I have a spot over here, like there was nothing over there, and you know, it was just a weird, and we played for about I think 45 minutes. We sang a couple of his songs, obviously, together.
Sure.
Everything from Uptown Girl to whatever, and I think at that point, it was just a matter of when we were going to stop, and I was going to find out what the hell was going on, because the energy was palpable for me. I was very excited, but very nervous, very, you know, not knowing what was going to go on. So he got up from the piano and he just said out loud, he's like, "I got to talk to Mike."
Yeah, I remember that.
And I remember somebody walked over like to get in on it or something. I don't know who, not to get in, but just to listen.
Yeah.
And he goes, no. I just want to talk to Mike alone.
Oh.
And we went back behind that curtain over there.
Yep.
And I was just, you know, I'm sure you felt when you first got in the band. It's just an amazing.
Yeah. It's
you know, this is like
energy.
It's an energy that's just, you know. And he just said, he beat around the bush for a second because he's just such a nice guy.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I don't know what you're doing. You know, I know you're busy with the band, and I don't want to.
Busy with Big Shot.
Busy with Big Shot. I know you're busy with Big Shot. You got guys, you know, that you take care of and everything else, you know. And I was like, oh, he's a setup. I was like, oh boy. And he says, just wondering if you want to maybe come out on the road with us to Europe, sing some vocals, play guitar. I just said, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Was my
I don't want to go. Yeah.
I just, are you effing kidding me?
Yeah.
I said, absolutely. He said, well, the guys will be okay. I said, the guys will understand.
Yeah.
These are guys I've known a long time, and I would, if it was them getting the opportunity, would I be, and I know I would never have sat and complained about it.
But think about his character. He was asking about
was
your
asking
guys,
about my
your
guys
musicians.
To me, what I consider a parallel universe down here.
That's how.
And he's just what a great dude.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe the sensitivity. Like he was
the
just
perfect word. Yeah.
And he's shown that so much.
Yep.
And he goes, all right, great. He goes, the hard part's over. Now let's talk about the easy part, money. And we walked downstairs. And that was the last.
Yeah.
We walked downstairs, and I remember being outside, and that was the night that he looked at my tattoo. Remember that?
We were outside. Outside, yeah. It was cold out.
It was freezing out. Everybody's smoking. Some guys are smoking
cigars,
cigars, whatever.
Yeah.
And
he looks at
he's just staring at. He's staring, and he's looking at me like this. He keeps looking down at my arm, and he's quiet. Yeah. It's like silence was killing me, and he goes, "What's that on your arm?" And I was like, "It's Jesus." And he goes,
"Oh."
He goes, "I thought it was the Cold Spring Harbor album cover."
Show everybody. If you go from 10 feet away, it could be. Yeah.
It does really look like the album cover. So we all bust out laughing, obviously, and I got to tell you, man, there was not a greater day for me career-wise than that day. When that rehearsal was over, I remember just the guys, the team got me a room over at the Hilton there.
The Hilton, we were staying at the Hilton, yeah.
And I was part of something.
Yeah.
And even though it hadn't happened yet, I remember calling everybody I ever knew.
You won't believe this.
You can't, like, it was just so overwhelming. The amount of emotion. I cried. Yeah. It was really just because I never saw it coming.
Yeah.
I was
blindsided.
Blindsided.
Well, I was too. I was blindsided.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think everybody was probably blindsided that got in that band.
Yeah. It's just, what would he need a tribute band singer to like I didn't see my fit ever. Yeah. I would never have seen that.
That's why it works.
Like, I guess in my own head it was always like, well, maybe one day I'll be able to play my own songs, and maybe I'll be able to, get into a situation where I can, be like Billy, and open up for him maybe one day, or do something,
Sure.
you dream, in your head. Maybe one day I'll be somewhere underneath that, but never like I'll be in his band. Like, I just didn't see that.
And be a valuable member. I mean, part of his organization, that people, it's amazing because people go. They know you so well, especially in the metropolitan area for years of being a Big Shot. You have such a wonderful fan base, and people, people love that you're there, and it's wonderful, man. It's just not like a hired guy to sit in the corner playing, a fifth trumpet part. It's a part of the band, which is wonderful.
You know, I still didn't know about the garden thing yet. You know, I figured I was
none
just
of us
doing.
did.
Yeah,
we were going to Europe.
We were
and
going to
actually,
Europe.
Andy Snitzer was on the.
Yes.
He was subbing
Yeah.
for Mark Rivera because Mark he had a Ringo tour. He double booked, and so Andy was in the band too. So that's another reason why we were rehearsing at the Paramount, because Andy was on a gig. Not that you guys needed rehearsal, but we were off for like a year
Yeah.
prior to that. And so
Yeah.
we wanted to get our stuff together.
Yeah.
So it just worked out wonderful that, you know, we're in Long Island rehearsing, which is the first time since 2005
Yeah.
when we were rehearsed. So this was what, 2013.
2013.
So that was
Yeah.
a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know. So we're actually
London,
rehearsing.
the Apollo gig, which was the last gig we did.
Apollo.
Yeah, the
Where was
Apollo
that?
Theater in London. That was the
Oh, was it
last gig
called
of the
Apollo?
run.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Or
the guy
it
was it
Hammerstein?
Apollo? Hammerstein.
Hammerstein. I'm sorry.
Ballroom, yeah.
Okay.
With the piano player opening up for us.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Yes. That was the gig that was. That's when I learned. That night was the night I learned I was in the band.
Yeah.
So I didn't know I didn't know whether I was getting called because I knew Mark was coming back. I knew Andy was coming back. Sashan also.
Oh, that's right.
So-
Andy was.
Yeah, Andy
John
wasn't.
Conti,
Andy, yeah, John,
He was out with
yeah,
Shania, I
Conti was
think.
playing.
Yeah.
So immediately I thought to myself, well, they got their vocalists back. You know, I mean, I'm happy to have just done this. Maybe they'll call me for some more, you know,
Yeah.
rehearsal things. And I remember the night at that theater, all the way up in that smoke, so really small, and you had to go
Yeah,
down,
tiny, yeah. Yeah.
you know, staircases. And BR was like, "What's the matter?" And I said, "What am I don't know. What am I doing? Am I doing the
Influx.
garden? Am I,
Yeah.
you know, I'm in the middle here." And he goes, "You want me to find out?" And I was like, "If you can, you know."
Best.
And he went down there and he talked to Billy, and he came back up and he goes, come down and talk to
Down,
Billy."
Yeah.
And I walked down and he was messing with his clothes on the rack. And I walked in, I was like shaking. I was like, "How you doing, Billy?" He's like, "Hey, Mike." He says, "So yeah, I was, you know, kind of gonna wait, but I'm sure you need to know, make plans and stuff, you know." Just kind of thinking about keeping you around for a while. I was like, it was just, and I just said, "All right." The only thing I think I said to him was, "Is it okay? Would it be okay to keep doing the big shot gigs, because they were a big part of my
Being.
you know, of who I am and my income, everything was a big, you know." And of course he was just so gracious. He was just like, "Yeah, of course." He goes, "Just work out the schedule with whatever." It was so simple. And but that was it. And we went back to the hotel that night. We sang doo-wops.
That was that night.
That was that night. We sang doo-wops in the hotel lobby. We were singing for the longest time. And I snapped that picture with me and Billy right outside there. I remember I almost strangled some guy who tried to get to him.
Yeah.
I almost tackled
It
him and
happens.
threatened him. Yeah.
That was at the hotel bar.
Yeah, the hotel bar. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we walked outside, and everybody started to swarm him. And I remember one guy wouldn't leave him alone. And I was just like, "Yo,
You get Long Island comes
I'm gonna
out.
hit you in the throat in about 2 seconds. Leave him alone." You know, I got very defensive. But no, that was. I mean, you know, because you've been in that moment.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a similar feeling, right? Where you're just like, "What?"
Oh yeah. Oh no. I mean, I go on about that story, and I will, but it's about you, bro. You know, this whole thing. Part of the reason why, you know, Mike has this great show, and he's inviting me to come to the Live on the Porch, and I'm going to do it. But you know, you're always busy carrying a load, and I want these questions to be answered because a lot of people don't know these anecdotes. Maybe they do, but you know, again, what got you into playing, and this is kind of, I'm learning a lot. So
Yeah.
you know, let's talk. So I think that question was answered. It's a wonderful question. That wonderful memory that you have, bro, and I think everybody in his band has.
That moment.
Yeah, it's been a
for
moment.
themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a wonderful.
Yeah.
So that being said, did we lose anybody? Yep, we did. The stream's over. What's going on over there, Steve-O?
Got a couple questions that kind of play off of what you guys were just talking about. Got one for Mike first here, and then I got one for you too, Carl. Rob is asking Mike, did you ever ask Billy for his guidance on nailing his unique style and voicings as an artist who was already covering his tunes before coming on the band?
No, I didn't. I didn't, only because, you know, when you're covering someone's music for so long, and then you step into the real situation, the last thing I ever wanted to do was to sing his music in front of him. Like, it was, you know what I'm saying? and it's still like that for me.
Yeah, it's
It's
like that
uncomfortable.
even-
Like when we're doing sound check and he walks up behind me,
It's like, ooh,
I'm like a deer in the headlights. You notice I jump off the piano and I'm like a deer in the
whole
headlights.
band is because he's our friend,
Yeah.
but it's still Billy Joel.
It's Billy.
and you look at it and it's like, and it's got to even be more for you because you're playing his part.
Yeah, and it's kind of a so no, I would never have asked him for that kind of stuff. When you're playing with him, and I'm sure Carl could attest to this, but you learn so much from him as a person.
Yeah.
You learn so much from him as a mentor, and it's so much deeper than just the music and just the whatever. And I guess the fact that somebody sounds like you or has a similar sound to you, he always took it very complimentary. And I'm sure there are some artists that have people cover them that don't like that, and they put stop and cease and desist letters and on cover artists. But I never really wanted to approach the hows and the whys. I think it's pretty obvious. I was really influenced by a lot of the early live Billy recordings, even more than the records. So I think I learned a lot from those live, bootlegs and from CW Post and from all those recordings. Those are the ones that I really live from Long Island. The live recordings were really it for me. I learned most of my stuff from off of that. But so not so much like directly, but I get to watch him every night, which is amazing, and I get to watch his hands. And I'm like, oh, I play that wrong. Oh, I play that wrong. Oh, I play that wrong. Every time I see him play a chord, I'm like, I don't play it like that. I'm horrible. So it's interesting to watch him now and go, wow, I can never get that chord. And I'll peek over his shoulder and I'll be like,
there it is. Yeah. Andy will do the same thing because he plays piano and Tommy too. And David, I'll see everybody will kind of be peeking at his hands. And it's funny you say this because I always felt a kinship to you. And now, especially even more that you're on Billy's band, because I was the guy, the analogy, what I'm saying in comparison to what Mike's saying is, I was the guy on Maynard Ferguson's band that showed up, and at sound checks, if Maynard didn't make it, I'd be playing his sound checks. I'd go out and check his mic, his monitors, and he'd come in and he'd start laughing at me. I'd be like, oh my God, and and then like he never would say, Carl, you need to learn this voicing or play this scale on this chord. He'd play it and be like, oh, that was it. And as a trumpet player, all of us would be checking him out. So but you're the understudy of Maynard or understudy of Billy.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it, and it's very cool.
And I know he hears me playing shit completely wrong. Like
But he'll correct you if he has to.
If he has to,
but he doesn't.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
No. He just assumes that if you're in this position, you'll figure it out. You got it.
And you do.
You do.
You do. And that's part of your gig. You figure it out. Figure it out quick.
Get it right.
And we all figure it out quick. And if we forget it, we figure it out quick again.
Yeah.
And we shut up and do it.
Shut up and do it. Do the gig.
That's the part. It's his name, and we're showing
Absolutely,
up.
man. One name on the marquee, and we're all proud to be there. It's
not only the band, but we say this many times, and especially every episode. We're only as good as our people who make us look good, and it's the crew. We have the best crew in the business,
best.
And the people that
in the office, everybody.
There's not one person that we don't like,
No.
and they have more seniority than we do, because they make Billy and everybody look like $1 million.
And I can tell you, I can attest that the crew has saved my life in 7 years so far, many times.
So 7 years. Or
seven.
You
Your
7th anniversary. Okay, so I'm bad in math.
Yeah,
But
November.
I play trumpet. I have 3 valves. I can count to 3.
Last month would have been the completion of the 7th.
Yeah, beautiful.
So and they've really saved my life in so many ways. Literally, where they covered my ass many times and helped me in many ways to learn the ropes of the road, so to speak. So blessed, really blessed.
What else you got,
cool.
Steve? You said something else, and then we're going to play a Billy tune since we're on a Billy subject.
Yeah, I got a couple people that have asked this, but Lance was the first. Mike just mentioned that he's been on 7 years. Carl, you mentioned at the beginning of the show that your 15-year anniversary with Billy is
today.
This week.
Either yesterday or today.
Yeah. And we had a couple people asking about how you got the call.
Again, it stems from our friend Tommy Burns.
Burns.
Tommy is responsible for a lot of us
The best.
being in the band. I was lucky enough to do the Broadway show Moving Out. I was a sub for the first couple of years, and I became a principal at the last year and a half, I believe. And I remember Chuck Berge was up for the drum chair in November. It started. Scuttlebutt of 2005 was saying that Billy's going to rehearse. and Chuck was going to rehearsals, and then they won't rehearse Chuck. And at the bar, Tommy and I, and all of us do our best work after the gig at the bar. We just got done with the show, moving out, and he pulls me aside and goes, I think we want to maybe do some horn tunes, and we haven't played it in ages. We're going to do Zanzibar. Would you be up to showing up at rehearsal for Billy? I said, absolutely. And Billy, I got to know a little bit because he'd come to the show. And just like you said earlier, Mike, he remembered my name. That blew my mind. I come running up the stage stairs and, hey, Carl, how you doing? I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like, huh?
Yeah.
How do you know? What do you know? The trumpet player on Broadway's
Knows
name.
everything.
It's freaky, right?
Yeah.
So long story short is, again, I didn't hear anything for Tommy for 2 or 3 weeks. And he goes, it could happen tomorrow. It could happen in a month. I don't know.
Yeah.
That type of thing. I'm like, oh, great. He goes, learn it. And learn is, I was fortunate because I knew a lot of the tunes anyway, but not thinking that they were going to be in different keys because we're playing Broadway keys, original keys, and so Billy was changing keys. And so anyway, I show up. Tommy calls me at midnight the night before. He goes, 9 o'clock tomorrow. And Zanzibar is going to be in a half step down. So I had Zanzibar figured out. That was the tune that they really wanted to play. And I showed up, and it was down a half step, and it blew my mind. I'm like, oh my God! I stayed up all night, got it to where I felt comfortable, and played the first solo. I've said this a few times on Cliff Notes version. Played that first solo. Freddie played the tune, and it wasn't my best pass. It was okay. Billy got up off the piano and was like, all right, I'm going. And he went out, he goes, I'm going to go outside. He went out to smoke a cigarette or a cigar or something. I'm like, man, I'm done. There's no, And he comes back 5 minutes later, and my hands in my face. And Richie Canada was on the band as well as Mark Rivera. And Mark's giving me a high five, and Richie's like, yeah, man. I'm like, Billy comes back and goes, all right, let's do it again. We sound like, when he was leaving, he said, we sound like grown-ups. And that's when I was really like, I was confused. Mark's like, grown-ups, that's a great word. He goes, because pop, he's thinking young teeny boppers. He goes, he wants to sound like a grown-up. He wants to do classical. He wants to play jazz. He wants to play stuff he hasn't played. He wants to play B-sides of stuff.
Yeah.
Grown-ups, that's hard. It's just a hard stuff to play.
Yes.
He goes, come on, let's do it again. We did it again. He goes, all right, let's do it again. We did play like 4 times. And then he goes, all right, let's have lunch. We had lunch. Come back tomorrow. And it was kept on coming back. And then, so this is like December 6th or 7th. Something like that. And December 13th on my birthday, Noel Rush is our main security guy who's been with Billy for ages. Noel's birthday is on the 12th, and mine's on the 13th, and Billy decided to have everybody over his house for Noel's birthday. So they invited me, and I go in, singing a happy birthday to Noel, and then the cake comes out for me. And next thing I know, like, welcome. I'm like, welcome? What do you mean welcome? I figured I was making rehearsals. It's all through the week. Like Boomer, our production manager, and Max, and BR was like, leave your horns here. Oh, no, do this.
Right.
Play trombone on this.
Little things that you see
I'm like,
after. Yeah.
what? I'm like, I never left my horns anywhere in my life. I'm like, it's like my baby. No, leave them here. But Boomer's like, leave them here. BR's like, hey, man, what if you play trombone on this song and do this? And I'm like, the
Little
meep.
Yes.
And so like so I got the gig. Basically, I knew I got the gig on my birthday, but really it was like the week before. It was like the groundwork. And I was like, nah, I'd never even seen it coming.
Yeah.
And I still was even. I did the first tour, which was originally 12 Gardens Live, which originally it was 6 concerts. They did 12, and so I figured we did 12 concerts, we'd be done. And then I'm like, all right, I'm kind of dark too. And this BR and Mike Rizal and Liz and Boomer, I'm like, what's the matter? I'm like, I think I'm done. He goes, talk to Billy. He goes, would you like to? We got more things. Come on, bring it on. And then so it just kind of I'm sure everybody in the band has another anecdote like that.
Sure.
But it's really
And he dropped it at the table.
Dropped it at
amazing.
the table.
That's amazing.
So hopefully that answered that, Steve.
Yeah, man, it gave me chills.
There's a method to the madness, right? He's
There
consistent.
is. They're all conniving behind our backs to make things happen. I think it starts with a whisper in the wind.
It's
a
Long
by
Island.
Tommy. Tommy
exactly.
whispers something in the wind.
Tommy's the instigator. He loves putting people in the right.
He's gotten so many people gigs. It's unbelievable.
You know what? My favorite saying of Tommy is like, I put you in a position to make me look good. Because if I recommend somebody that's going to be better than me, and it makes me look good.
Yeah.
And it's not an ego on him. It's like, and it's the same thing that you do and I do is when you have a sub to a gig, you get a sub that's better or at least as good as you.
Yeah.
You don't want to send anybody bad.
Right.
You want to look, be
Unless they're
confident.
much cheaper.
Yeah. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Yeah, right.
Thank you. God bless.
Well, speaking of Billy, we're gonna,
let's,
let's do a little Billy thing.
All right.
The one Billy tune that we talked about. Well, we talked about two tunes. You'll recognize this one.
Let's just say, what if
What if?
this solo was actually recorded on trumpet, which I think is amazing, by the way.
Well, let's get
played
through
this
it
great,
first.
So let's get through this. I'm not even going to attempt to play the intro that I never play. But I guess I will, because I'm brave. See? Some folks like to get away, take a holiday from the neighborhood. Have a flight to Miami Beach or Hollywood. I'm taking a Greyhound on a Hudson River line, 'cause I'm in a New York state of mind. Seen all the movie stars, their fancy cars and their limousines. Been high in the Rockies, under the evergreens. But I know what I'm needing, I don't want to waste more time, 'cause I'm in a New York state of mind. Was so easy living day by day, out of touch with the rhythm and blues. Now I need a little give and take. New York Times, Daily News. Comes down to reality, and it's fine with me, 'cause I let it slide. Don't care if it's Chinatown or on Riverside. I don't have any reasons, left them all behind. I'm in a New York state of mind. Was so easy living day by day, out of touch with the rhythm and blues. Now I need a little give and take. New York Times, Newsday too. Comes down to reality, and it's fine with me, 'cause I let it slide. Don't care if it's Chinatown or on Oceanside. I don't have any reasons, left them all behind. I'm I'm in a New York state of mind. Come on, Carl, round the horn, baby. Ooh, yeah. I'm just taking a Greyhound on a Hudson River line. But I'm in I'm in a New York. State of mind. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Carlito.
It was fun. I blew some cobwebs somewhere.
They're over here.
It's
nice,
amazing
bro.
when we play these tunes, two of us together. It's kind of fun because it brings
Yeah.
out different
Yeah, man.
memories, and also it's a lot of freedom, I think, right?
Yeah, a lot of freedom to do that intro like I did. You know what? It's funny. All the years I play that song, I've never played the intro live. I
Really?
usually I come in with.
Jump in it.
Yeah.
That's your thing now.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
has a thing.
Yeah.
I don't have a thing. I just go.
Well,
But you got a thing. You got a nice little thing.
it's called avoiding the mistakes they know I'm gonna make. I cut the whole part out.
You know, we'll just hit one more Billy thing. I got to ask you one more question. There's a lot of gigs in the 7 years you've been here. You have one favorite gig or Billy story that you could say that's just, whether it be about anything, just a great Billy gig or a story that is on the top of your.
There's too many. There's really
There's a
too
lot.
many. There's really too many. Yeah, because it's still so fresh to me that it's like there's so many different. There's
Yeah.
funny ones. There's emotional ones. You know, there's I think the first time maybe singing Until the Night with Billy, which
That was
was at Barclays
Barclays Center in Brooklyn.
in Brooklyn. That was probably the first time that I was like, you know, we'd already done the Paramount gig, and we had done
That was
Europe
New Year's,
already.
New Year's Eve.
It was New Year's Eve.
Wow, I forgot about that.
I
yeah.
think that was like a wow moment, chills, you know, while doing it, and just praying that Billy has impeccable pitch. So
the pitch is great, but it's also a very high part. because
very high, yeah. The harmony
Both of
is
you guys
the
are-
harmony is up there. Yeah, it's definitely up there. There's that, and then there's the memorable monumental moments of being asked to be in the band. That was
Sure.
like I said, but then there was the one flight that oh god, it was the Almost Famous moment. You know, like the movie Almost Famous when they almost go down in the airplane.
Yeah.
Well, you know I hate flying. It's
Yeah.
no secret that I can't stand it. So
But
and
you're
Bi-
so good at it.
I'm
though.
so good at taking the Xanax to get on the plane. That's what I'm good at. Otherwise, I'm not getting on the plane. Without medication, it ain't happening. So I remember, Billy is gracious and always spreads the love as far as flying with him.
Jump on my
Jump
plane?
on my plane.
Let's go home.
And it happened to be one of those
Nights?
where he had asked, and I know Mark was on, Tommy was on.
You guys were going to Long Island.
BR, yeah, we were heading back to Long Island. It was rough, man. It was rough, really rough. We were coming. I'm not going to give the airport away. We were coming into a local airport, and holy crap, this thing was bouncing all over the place. Now I'm, these planes like Billy's in the
Face to face.
front facing this way. I had the other seat
Yeah.
behind him facing away,
Okay.
but we were head to head,
Yeah.
but back to back, and the plane's jumping like. Whatever, and we're banking over over a cemetery,
Uh-huh.
and it's getting really bad. I look over at Mark Rivera.
Mhm.
Mark's facing forward, and I'm not facing the cockpit. He's facing the cockpit. I look over at Mark, and Mark goes, look, and I turn around and I look behind me into the cockpit. The door's wide open, and both pilots had their hands on the dashboard, and the thing was bouncing all over the place. I had sweat pouring down my head. Billy, now I know, is a seasoned flyer, but he doesn't particularly like it either.
He don't like it. Yeah.
He doesn't like it either. And we were banking over the cemetery, and we all looked out and saw the cemetery, and he just, in Billy's style, Billy goes, well, we won't have to go far. In the middle of ready to go down. I was ready to do the Almost Famous line. I'm gay, like in the middle of the line. Like in the movie. And we came in, and as it turns out, we took off. We boarded the landing. And turned around again, and we did it again.
Yeah.
And finally landed. It turned out that the landing gear was stuck. It didn't go down. And it was a lot more serious than I guess we had,
Figured.
whatever. But Billy, man, with the
One-liner.
with the one-liner, and I'll never forget Mark's face going, look. Mark just wanted to freak me out, I think,
It could be fun.
Hysterically funny moment after the fact.
Yeah.
It was really funny after. I was like, that's the last time?
Yeah, that's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Well, it's not beautiful,
Yeah.
but it's funny.
Funny. There's
Yeah,
many nights like
yeah.
that, and we've had some, all
We
of
had
us
great
had some
times,
great
yeah.
times.
No,
Yeah,
it's,
so.
and we can't wait. We can't wait to get back into it.
I miss
whether-
everybody.
Yeah,
man,
we can't wait
right?
to do it again, man. We really can't. And it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
It
Just
will.
We'll be patient and be safe, and we'll hook it up. So, speaking of which, what do we got, Steve-O? How's everybody over there? We got two people
Everybody's-
left on the feed.
No, we still got a few hundred hanging out with us.
Nice.
So I do have a bunch of questions that I got to get to, but really quick before we get too far away from New York State of Mind, I'll basically sum it up, and you guys will see it in the chat on the replay. But I think there was a bunch of people that felt really lucky to be able to hear what they heard.
Oh,
So
nice.
there was a
Great.
lot
Lucky to
of
play it for 'em.
really nice comments. So type yes if you guys agree in the chat, and let them see it. And we had a really good question from Lisa, asking what it was like for both of you guys to tell your families that you were now in the Billy Joel band.
No, please, because, yeah.
I grew up in Long Island. So growing up in New York, like we talked earlier, yeah, you knew Billy Joel tunes were always on the radio. Always heard them. My dad and my mom were always into jazz. My dad was a jazz head, but my dad had a very great diversified catalog of music, and Billy was in there. So was Chicago.
Too.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was into, but I really liked Led Zeppelin. I liked a lot of different things. So I had this jazz career before any pop thing. I was recording some pop stuff, and my dad was like, yeah, okay, it's pop, whatever. And he was never negative on it. He was always, hey, man, you're working, it's great. So when I was with Maynard Ferguson, jazz icon for years, that was like the pinnacle for my dad and for me, because that was my idol. When I was moving out, I said to my dad, you gotta come check this show out. And he heard the tunes. I got him a seat in the theater, and he's seen the whole thing. And he goes, my dad said this. My dad was very hip. He says, I never realized what diversity of his catalog is. He goes, I want to say that he's kind of like the George Gershwin of our time. My dad said. I'm like, that struck me as, who doesn't know, George was a wonderful Broadway writer, but made American standards music to this day. It had a standard repertoire of just wonderful music. And that stuck with me. And so when I got the gig, I told him, he goes, and he said point blank, he goes, wow. He goes, the diversification of his catalog of music, he goes, this is unbelievable. Because now you can actually, he wants you to play jazz, but you're playing pop. He goes, this is a George Gershwin in your time. He goes, you know how big this is? He said that to me. He goes, you know how big this is? I'm like, I think, Dad. You know, I was like in shock, and my mom was just gushing and very happy. I remember both my parents, you know, because they were older school, and like I said, they were from a different mentality of, you know, Count Basie and Duke Ellington, and they were in that whole scene, but they knew enough of the pop mentality to say, let's check his catalog out. And to this day, man, my mom still listens to Billy, and my dad, one of my favorite, I have two favorite pictures. One of them is my parents with Maynard, and the other one is my parents with Billy. And it's, you know, so yeah. So that was my story.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah,
no, I mean, I would echo just the same sentiment, which is just, you don't know how to. We all cried. Everybody was just
emotional.
It was
emotional.
Making a call and saying, "I'm in Billy Joel's band. I'm going on tour with Billy Joel," and the silence.
Yeah.
On the end of the phone, every call was just silence. It was like, what?
It's not all smoke and mirrors and hotel rooms and, you know, limousines in our career. I mean,
nope.
You know, we had, you know, many years, man. I mean, for years, and I'm sure you had the same thing, man. You couldn't make your rent. I mean, I had stuff in storage for 3 years in New York City. Put stuff in storage. I couldn't afford to live. I'd crash on people's couches when I was playing jazz. When I got Billy's gig, my dad's like, you can take your stuff out of storage. I remember moving out first. He goes, well, you can stay, now you can live in your apartment. You can get an apartment.
You're moving out, you can now move out stuff out of storage.
Yeah. And it was funny because when I got moving out, I had a fiance at the time, and I want to move back to New York and get my stuff out of storage, and that allowed me to live like, you know, John Scarpula was very instrumental with Tommy Burns too, great saxophone player John, and you know, I led the jazz life. I would make a couple $100 and not live well, and you know, playing the circuit, we all did that.
Yeah.
So when you get a real gig, it's like, oh wow, wait a minute, I can eat next week.
Yeah, no, it's you know, I mean, the financial thing is always. For me, it was just like, that was like, I'm sure for you too, it's a cherry on top. The first thing you're thinking about is
music.
I'm playing with Billy Joel.
Yeah,
like it's pretty. It was absolutely amazing. Like I said, I cried so many times. You know, I still do.
Yeah,
I still get choked up thinking of the story, and I remember telling just my kids or talking to my father about it. At the time, I remember I called, you know, Christina, who we're back together now, my second wife, we're back together now. And I remember calling her at the time.
Yeah.
And
So
you know, it was one of my first phone calls, and I was like, you know, I'm going on the road with Billy Joel, and it was just like, she was like, what?
Yeah.
And then, you know, everybody was just, it was just what, you know? But the feeling is what, I remember the feeling just being just overwhelming, just like, wow, it was just it's been such a rush, dude. It's such a ride.
Definitely.
So no, we've been blessed.
Yeah. So hopefully that answered your question,
Yeah.
Steven.
Proud is the word.
Yeah.
It's a very proud moment of going, wow, oh my God, I finally have something I could tell these people. All these years of doing this career that really living in a trailer with my kids in the back of a fun for all in Port Jefferson in an office building, no joke.
Yeah.
You know, with nothing, and then all of a sudden being able, you know, and thank God for Big Shot again. Thank God for Billy's music.
It's Billy's music.
You know what I mean?
Common denominator.
All of them, yeah. Blessed.
Yep. Speaking of the music, do you guys have a favorite and a most difficult song to play?
Let you hit that one, Mike.
My favorite is Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, just because it never gets old, and it just has all different parts. So I love the structure of that song. I love how it was in the days where you didn't have to have a 3-minute song, and you can put your epic tune out.
Different
And people
times.
had patience back then to actually listen to great music. It became a cult classic. It's the biggest song of the night by far. I think whenever we play, it's just huge. You know, next to Piano Man and all those. As far as hard to play, there's so many. I consider myself an absolute hack on the piano. So there's a lot of songs that are hard for me to play on the piano. One of them being the song that you play solo on, Zanzibar.
Yeah.
I always shied away from that middle section.
Yeah. The tritone.
We've done it a few times with Billy where Billy shied away from it. Yeah.
And he turns around and laughs.
Turns around and he
at us.
goes, jazz.
Jazz.
Jazz. He's like,
honest,
but yeah, no, a lot of his tunes are really, they're not your typical,
Sure.
1-4-5 tunes. So a lot of them are difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't particularly have.
You have a
I have
favorite?
a flavor of the week. I go through different times.
phases.
It's like I think this week I would say is And So It Goes, just because it's so simple.
Wow. I
And-
just played that for the first time on the porch last
Really?
week. I swear I never played
No
it before.
kidding.
It's so funny
We
you
should
say
have
that.
done. We done.
Yes,
I'm-
yes.
But yeah, And So It Goes. Lately, I've been hearing that, and that's kind of a really stripped down, just beautiful tune. Technically, some like stiletto tunes that come out of the blue that we haven't played in a while. Always kind of like he'll pull stiletto out last minute. I'll play tenor on that, and Mark and I will be looking at what's the harmony on that. And it echoes some of the guitar harmony. So we all have to have a
Yes.
harmony,
Yeah,
right?
right
We all
on.
look at each other like I'm usually playing what you're playing, and Mark's playing what Tommy's playing. So it's
Yes.
like, okay, this is what we're
Or the horn section part on that you guys
Mulberry
do.
Street?
Mulberry Street is always
that
that.
comes out. It's like
Gotta
oh,
be
man.
practiced.
If it's
It's
not
gotta
right,
be played right.
So a sound check, we're all like, Mark, Crystal, and I are like, okay, let's go through it.
And there's the wizard Dave just going, oh, it's like this.
Yeah.
Dan, he plays the whole
Yeah, you just
the whole
want-
horn part,
yeah.
everything on his
Really,
keyboard.
Dave, you kind of want to
It's
punch
just
him. Here you
little
go, buddy.
yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah,
He's so good. I want to smack him.
He's a genius. That's why we love him. Every band's got to have one. He's that man.
Yeah.
He keeps everybody.
You can't get anything
on-
by that guy. His ear is
yeah,
just
super ear.
Super ear.
Super ear. So yeah, that's and the catalog's so big. It has to be a flavor of the week for me because it's hard. But yeah, so hopefully that answered those. Any other ones that are pertinent, and then we'll move on.
There's one specifically that I've been
No.
holding on to since the very beginning.
No,
It's
sorry.
I'll drive down there. All right.
Don't make me.
Bring it on,
Yeah.
buddy.
I'll show you
seen
some. I'll show you some Chicago. How you doing?
It's just as cold here right now. Go ahead. Come on down.
Yeah, right. Carl, could you talk a little bit about the horn section and your approach to how you, Crystal, and Mark work together on a tune like "Moving Out" or "Only the Good Die Young"?
It's like a marriage, and our band is like a marriage, and Mike can attest to this too. It's whoever you're playing with, you want them to be comfortable, and they want you to be comfortable. And a lot of times in the horn section, like for instance, Mike brought up Mulberry Street, we might not play it for two or 3 months, might go by, and we'll just do Zanzibar or not even sometimes. And so he'll call a tune, and it might come up Mulberry Street, the bridge on Mulberry Street, or it could be a tune like Stiletto I talked about, or Blonde Over Blue, or all these tunes that we don't normally play. What works for me, and Mark and Crystal have been in the band for so long, they can flip parts and have flip parts with different bands. And so, and same thing with vocals too. I noticed that.
Yeah.
So Mark might be on the high part one tour, and then might be in the middle on the next tour because it might not have another vocalist, or throughout the years, or things might have changed key, or so. What I started doing as a horn section, because I'm anal. I even did it with Mike, just little cheat sheets. Okay, I'm playing. I start on A and I'm ending on F on this lick here, so I know that's my area of my register that I'm playing in on that particular lick. So with Billy, I'm a little bit more specific. I'll write out the part really quick because I have more time. So I'll write it out. I'm like, this is what I'm playing, and so Mark will look at me. Okay, so Crystal's either on the top or you're in the middle, and so it sorts itself out pretty quick, and we can get there quickly. And I noticed the same thing with the vocals. And correct me if I'm wrong. You've been there, and you remember a lot of your stuff verbatim because you haven't had 6, 7 different bands or horn sections.
Yes.
So, so that's what works for us in a horn section, and it's a marriage in a horn section because everybody is always trying to do the right thing, and it's always, for me, with any horn section, it's always about the articulation, how you articulate it. You can play even wrong notes, but if it's articulated right, if I'm playing soprano or tenor, I'm not, like Mike says, Mike's not, he don't consider himself a great piano player, even though I think he is. I don't consider myself a great tenor player. I'm adequate, but I know if I can make it sound articulated the right way.
And you have great tone, which
Thanks.
is, yeah,
I
tone
appreciate
is everything
it.
with the horn.
It's always
it's-
about the sound.
yeah.
But yeah, so and Crystal's the same way. Whatever she approaches 110%, and Mark's that way too. So we have all the same goal in mind. So we just try to ramp it up as quick as they can with however we do it.
You guys are remarkable to me because you'll from the first time you attempt the part when we haven't done it in a while, it could sound like
Horrible.
It could sound like 16 people throwing hammers at
Oh, yeah.
at each other or through the glass, and all of a sudden, in a matter of like 2 takes or 3, it just fine tunes to the point of like, oh yeah, that's right, we got it now,
Yeah.
and it's phenomenal.
It's just coming to that.
Comes together.
Yeah,
You
it's
guys are
coming to that part.
you all listen really well.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, man.
And is that the same way with the vocal thing too?
It really forget about vocals in that band. I mean, it's the best vocal band I've ever been.
I think it's. I'm going to venture to say, and a lot of people have said this in the crew in the organization. I've been with a lot of different acts. I'm going to venture to say that Billy's background vocals are probably, I would say, probably one of the best in the business because everybody is just monstrous.
I can't disagree with you, and it's got nothing to do with me. I'm telling you, before I even walked in, you look anywhere on the stage, anybody can sing lead, anybody can.
Except for me.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
You know,
But no, but Mark is unbelievable singer.
unbelievable.
Crystal's like
Crystal
angelic.
is, forget about it.
I know.
I mean, she's
Andy
just
is a belter.
Andy's a great
He's
singer.
Unbelievable.
We went in the studio to do some stuff, and I remember, Andy's tone, and just being like, "Oh my God, your
He's a
tone is
monster.
like beautiful."
Tommy too, man. He's-
Tommy's mastered the art of singing the low harmony, the baritone harmony. Everybody always picks the third above it. He knows right. He hears the chord. He hears the chord. He goes right under and grabs it. And
Where are you? Where do you usually sit?
I'm either on the melody double or I'm on the third above. And
Third above,
a lot of times I'll take. Sometimes Crystal will go down to the third or whatever, and I'll jump up
I
up
noticed
higher.
that
So,
because I noticed a lot of times you jump high.
yeah, I'll get up there and do that. That's the beauty of this is that everybody kind of
Is
can do
each
it.
other, yeah.
Everybody can kind of do this in that band. It's not like, oh, we need Mike to do. No, I mean everybody really sings.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the only time they're not singing is because they have an instrument in their hand and they can't.
Yeah.
They're playing a horn and they
Yeah.
can't sing
Or
at the
she's
time, or
playing percussion, or
she's
Mark's
playing percussion.
playing,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I mean,
Yeah.
Crystal's just
She's unreal.
she's a wizard back there. I mean, she's
If you're
just-
here, we love you, Chris.
the best band, man. Just
Fun band.
and all the guests that come up and we do their songs, and it's just like you listen back and it's like, damn, that's great, man. I agree. The vocals are second to none.
So, you have any questions, Stephen, or should I move on?
I have another one, but I don't. If you want to get to it a little bit later, we can.
Okay. Yeah, let's move it forward. We'll get back to it if that's all right by you.
Awesome. Let's
All
do
right,
it.
cool. So, I usually, it's getting 11. It's 11. So we've been here a while. So I want to not wrap up. I want to kind of move on. We had a great Billy talk, and we love Billy. What do you work? I know what you're working on, but I want you to share. Maybe you don't want to share. What are you working on now?
I just we're up in New York for a couple of months, and I've had some new tunes that I was really excited eventually to record. I didn't think I was gonna, and we had some time. with
Pandemic
COVID,
time, yeah.
pandemic time, and went into Cove City up to Richie's
Canada's
place.
Yep. Another Billy
And
guy.
cut about 8 tunes. Really like the material.
Happy.
I'm happy with the material. Yeah, I'm never going to be happy with a final mix because that's just I'm a mental case, and I'll always find something to ridicule and hate about what I do. But yeah, so new album, a couple of singles that I've been playing. Heroes being one of them on there. Mona Lisa, which was the tune I did with Kevin James
Yeah.
did the video to that.
Well, that's
Proud
a
of
great
that. Really
video and a
proud
great,
of that
wonderful,
song.
great tune. Wonderful tune.
So yeah, new album, and right now I'm just worried about releasing singles. I don't want to really worry about like an album.
Whole
I think that
work.
patience. People don't have patience as much anymore to listen to a whole record. And
2-minute gratification.
and good songs could get lost in an album nowadays. And I'd rather release them all as singles and let them have, let's face it, nobody's really making a lot of money selling
Or any.
or any money selling songs anymore. So you're really doing it just get the most legs out of it as you can, and let people hear it. But I'm excited about it.
You have a timeline for it, Mike? Or
I'm hoping the beginning of the year, probably February or March for the full album.
Okay.
But a couple of singles along the way.
Nice.
Yeah. So looking forward to it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll be sure I'll bring my soprano sax and play all
Bring
over.
your kazoo
Yeah,
too.
it'll be nice.
Bring your
I'll have
kazoo.
my
and
tambourine.
Bring your tambourine. Bring your shoes and your glasses
So
you
I
have them.
Well, cool, man. I'm glad you're working on it, and it's
Yeah.
exciting to check it out. And you know, I think it's easy for me to say, but I'll go on the line. I think you have also a home here at this beautiful all-access studio.
This place is
Ronnie B and
amazing.
Doug
I
Johnson.
thank you for inviting me here because this
I
is
figured
like.
you get along with these
Oh
guys.
yeah, great bunch of guys here.
Yeah.
And,
Wonderful artists.
yeah, I'm looking forward to cutting my teeth here, doing some stuff
have
here.
some fun, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fun time. So I'm glad you're working on some new stuff because, you have a lot to offer musically of your own stuff. So I can't wait to check that out. Let's go. I heard you do this tune, and it's kind of me. I'm not a sailor. I'm a powerboat. I'm a fisherman. But I love sailboats. I think they're gorgeous. But I heard you do this tune, and and I know you get people always ask you to do this tune, and you might have played it a lot, but I personally asked you to do this tune, and I'm going to hack through it. But Christopher Cross.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, and you do such a great job on it, and it's kind of your thing. Sailing.
Sailing, yeah, let's do a little of that. I love it. I'll be sure to botch some of it, but
yeah, me too.
I'll do
Especially that middle part.
Oh God,
So
that middle part.
Actually, here it is. Here's the organic part. We didn't have to play through the whole tune we talked about. The vamp in the beginning I'll blow on, right?
Yeah.
Solo.
Yes.
And then I'm gonna cop some of your bridge stuff, but I'm not gonna play your bridge stuff, the piano part.
Okay.
And then I'll vamp on the end, right?
Yes. We're gonna do the 2-chord change in the beginning. You're gonna
Okay.
vamp on the 2 chords, right?
Yep. Or do you want yeah. And
Or
at the
get
end
into
we're
it, or-
gonna do 4 chords. No, 2 chords.
2 chords, yeah.
2 chords. All
Yeah,
right.
don't-
I'll
if
throw
you wanna
whatever
do the whole
chord.
phrase, do the
Maybe
whole phrase.
7. Maybe
We'll see,
put
why
7.
don't we just see where we end
Let's
up?
say
Because this
7.
could be really
I'll be in
interesting.
I'll be in Alaska. It's very cold there.
Well, it's not far down to paradise. At least it's not for me. If the wind is right, you can sail away, find tranquility. Oh, the kindness can do miracles. Just you wait and see. Believe me. It's not far to Never Never Land. Reason to pretend. If the wind is right, you can find the joy of innocence again. Oh, the kindness can do miracles. Just you wait and see. Believe me. Sailing takes me away to where I've always heard it could be. Just a dream and the wind to carry me. Soon I will be free. Fantasy, it gets the best of me when I'm sailing. All caught up in the reverie. Every word is a symphony. Won't you believe me? Sailing takes me away to where I've always heard it could be. Just a dream and a wind to carry me. Soon I will be free. it's not far back to center. At least it's not for me. If the wind is right, you can sail away, find serenity. Oh, the canvas can do miracles. Just you wait and see. Believe me. Sailing takes me away to where I've always said it could be. Just a dream and the wind to carry me. Soon I will be free.
Such a nice tune.
It's a great tune.
It's a great tune. The bridge on, I was waiting to hear, this is the bridge on Sirius XM radio. I hear that tune all the time on there. I just love it. It's a great station.
Yeah, he's a great singer.
He's a great singer. He's a great singer. He battled with COVID over
Did
this whole thing. Yeah, he was
wow.
pretty sick for a while.
Is he cool now?
I think he's good now.
Oh.
Yeah, thank God.
Our thoughts are with him and whoever's dealing with the
Yeah, so many
19
people,
COVID,
man.
man. Oh, Lord.
What a year.
Yeah, actually, I want to put that tune out to my late uncle. I lost him last Sunday. Wonderful piano player,
Oh,
my
sorry,
uncle
man.
Marty Tossi. Yeah, thanks, man. He was a wonderful guy and wonderful piano player. You know, 6 degrees of separation, man. We're all playing music, and it's all about just throwing it out to the universe, and you know. So,
Oh, man.
yeah, I just thought about him well, probably because of Christopher. He was a wonderful musician and piano player.
Yep.
So anyway, that was sailing. What we got over there, Peanut Gallery? We might as well hit them all, and then we can kind of tie it up. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Take
I
some
know
more.
we're
Let's take a few more questions.
we're a little over 2 hours now, and everybody's still here. So
We didn't lose them. Well, it's time for everything.
yeah,
Listen,
exactly.
It's not a party till our clothes are off, so
Yep.
I got a lot of clothes, thank God.
disrobe, Carl, disrobe. I won't look.
Just really quick,
that your finger?
Judy.
Is it your pinky?
Oh, that's great.
I'm not going to do it.
So, really quick, we have Judy. Just really quick says thank you guys for doing this, and says thank you to Carl from everybody on the porch. Had a lot of people just saying thank you. So,
Thanks. No, thanks for watching.
yeah, Roz says can't wait for you to join us on the porch. What do you have?
Well,
Was that your finger?
nanu nanu.
No, thank you, everybody.
Yeah. We did have one from, you guys know, and this person I have to say is probably the most loyal person on the Tuesday night hang. And I know, Mike, you probably feel the same on your side, but Noah is asking, how do you guys deal with nerves when you're performing?
Mike, you want me to hit that one first? Obviously. Nerves? Nerves. Realize, kind of try to program. Everybody has them, so that's the first thing. You're not the only one that has them. Anybody who has nerves of steel, God bless them. A lot of people go through the same thing of nervousness. I'd say while you're in the practice room or working on your craft, realize that that's what you're training for. When you get to the gig, it's already pre-programmed in your muscle memory. It's going to come out. I could sit here and say, you know, oh my God, I'm going to play for all you guys tonight and worry about the bridge on sailing and freak out about it, or just realize that I practiced long enough and hopefully my musicianship and ears will take over. And if it doesn't, you made a mistake. It's okay. So part of the nerves is actually getting over yourself, I think, and just accepting the fact that you did your homework and it's It's part of the process. If you get nervous, it's okay. There's no problem with it. But be focused and focus in your practice and be focused on the gig. Realize that it's a fun thing, but be focused on what you're there for and get that part that needed to be played right and be focused on it.
And nerves, without nerves, you wouldn't have miracles throughout the night. And I consider them miracles.
Wow.
Without, you know what I mean? Without the nerves,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I don't know where the
Where you
next note is.
Yeah.
Or I'm about to sing and I don't have a lyric. And I'm literally opening my mouth in faith and trusting. And if I didn't have the nerves, those miraculous moments proving to me that God exists in music. And there's a creative force that goes on, and there's something that happens. So nerves can either be, right, they could be utilized, and you can use them
in a positive way.
Or you could just crap your pants and walk off stage and run to the bathroom. There's really no in betweens with it. I can attribute my most nervous night ever with Billy was after we did. He threw Nessun Dorma at me, the opera song, at the stadium, but we only did half of it. Remember, he threw like half of it at me.
Wow, that's right.
And that was okay because it was spur of the moment, and I didn't have time to think about it.
Yeah, you went.
And I got a huge muscle spasm after I hit the high note, and everybody was getting up and shaking my hand. He got up off the piano, was hugging me, and I was dying. But the most nervous I ever got was when I showed up at the Garden, the next gig, and he had it written in the set list.
Really?
As a full song,
Because
and we
you had
never
to-
practiced it.
Because you had to.
And Billy, you don't want to practice it.
yeah.
So we didn't want to practice. I was like, okay.
No.
And not only was it written in the set list, but it was at the end. He puts it right before or after River of Dreams or whatever.
you're ready, yeah.
And I'm telling you, that whole night,
You were sweating it.
just watching it come and watching it get closer and closer, I don't know how I made it through that night.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. That was one of the most. And so to answer your question, Noah, who I love you, buddy. You're the best.
Yeah.
By the way, thank you so much for your support all the time.
Good cat.
And a very talented kid himself musically, and has his own channel now too. Got to check him out.
God bless.
But that night was the epitome of, if I can get through this nervousness. I almost looked over at him and said, I don't want to do it.
Oh.
And that's what he was testing me for. Like, that's Billy. Like,
Yeah.
put you out there and be like, hey, it's yours if you want it.
You gonna hit the ball out.
Hit the
or
ball
you
out,
gonna ground it?
or do a Bunny swing and swing 3 times, and hit the ground. So I thank him for that. I really do, because he has a tendency to do that. And it's always nerve-wracking playing with him because he's Billy, but that was the moment. But yeah, I think we use it as fuel, and it really does prove
Yeah.
it's exciting.
Yeah.
Without nerves, it wouldn't be exciting.
Yeah.
If you weren't nervous, the gig would just be like any other job or any other thing that we just do on an every, you got to get that little fire
You got to
in
get the fire. And, I'm going to go emotional because I usually don't do this, but you brought up a very good point, and it kind of hit me in a thing, so I'll talk about it. You doing Nessun Dorma, I remember going back and playing some of my stuff, but before that, the Nessun Dorma, when your mom just passed.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
And you went and did it, and you came back, and I remember talking to him like, it's for your mom. This gig's for your mom. And I remember we were all, Mark and Chris, and I remember your face when it was over, and it was just like, it could have been a negative moment, but it was such a positive, enlightening moment that, she's with you all the time.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I remember when my dad passed
And
away
I
too.
was going to tell you that. I specifically remember that gig. We both had gigs on the day or the week
Yep,
that yeah.
And it's it's you kind of turn it to a positive, like he's with me now. He's on every gig, and I have his help. I remember that to me it was nervous because I didn't play that whole week. My dad was in the hospital, and your chops or whatever. And then but things get you through, and like you said, they're miracles. It's crazy. But if you were to think about it, you'd back out. You'd spin around the home plate like Bugs Bunny. It wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And Billy knows that. He's got that sixth sense.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He
That's
does.
a true sign of a leader.
And he was so good right before that gig. We were standing on the side, and I told him what happened, and he was just like, "That's going to be a tough one. Losing your mom's a tough one." He goes, "Again, it's tough," and he goes, "But she'll be with you. She'll be with you."
There it is.
And Tommy said the funniest thing ever on stage. got done with Nessun Dorma, and he knew it was an emotional night. Everybody, I guess, knew. Just like when your
why
father
not?
passed,
Yeah.
I had a hard time even looking at you that night without getting teary-eyed because I just knew what you were feeling. I could feel everything that you were feeling that night. And Tommy walked over and he goes, "Think of it this way: she's going to be at more gigs now than she ever was."
Can't get rid of her.
Yeah, she never showed up at any gig. She's going to be there every night now.
It's the truth. It's funny, man. You got to turn him into a
Yeah,
positive.
turn it into a
That's
positive.
Tommy,
so,
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so hopefully that answered the questions there. Noah, my man.
I have one more because Mike mentioned a little
hit
bit
us.
about his original projects. We had a couple people asking Carl about your original work.
Woo! Original. Well, at this wonderful recording studio, we did T.Ë.T.I, which was over a year and a half ago now. And I got to come in here and mix it. So that's...
We should have a mixing party.
You have to mix your stuff. I got to mix my stuff.
Yeah.
We got a big mixer. Well, we have Doug Johnson, who's the mixer master behind the console.
All right.
Let's have a hand for Doug and Ronnie D for opening up their house,
Yes.
and Ronnie doing a video, and
Thank you.
Lamangelo doing a video, and Doug Johnson is the key. Doug and I worked together 20-something years ago with Little Bill. It was a Bill Cosby's cartoon on Nickelodeon. He was the engineer. We used to, from New York, we used to go to D.C., and he was one of the engineers. And so Doug and I go back a long time. He's got great ears, and Ronnie is wonderful. And so, yeah, we're going to have a mixing party.
Yeah, man.
Gets our projects done. So, yeah, it's T.Ë.T.I is Tribute to Evolutionary Trumpet Icons. And in the interim, the 15th, I'm going to call this out. And Mike, man, there's a guy named Mike Calta with the Mike Calta Foundation, and he's doing a fundraiser. And All Access Recording it stemmed from here, and it's Christmas tunes for families in need. It's a fundraising. And I actually did a couple Christmas tunes. It's coming out the 15th. So I did a couple originals with my new band. It's called Sunshine City. And Ronnie was very fortunate. I got to have Ronnie play tenor and sing on it at a couple gigs.
Awesome show, dude.
Thanks. You came.
That
it was
was
a second hole. You totally blew me away. I turned around, there's Mike and Christina. I was like, what?
That was a great night.
Thanks, man.
You guys sounded unbelievable. Really.
That was
Ronnie
a fun
was
night.
Killing.
Yeah, he's a fun cat.
Oh,
right?
that
He's
was great.
Talented cat.
Absolutely great. Really talented. Mega
Thanks.
talented. Both you guys all killed it. Your band was great.
Thanks.
Told
It's
you I
a
wanted to
fun
steal
band.
the whole band. Be like, you're out.
Yeah.
I'll move out of
Well,
the way.
I'm always get kicked out of my own thing. You suck. You need to leave. But yeah, I mean, here's the family now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're fortunate that we have a place to do it now, and so we're going to continue working on some original stuff and getting it out, just like Mike is, and I feel fortunate. And also kudos to Mike MacArthur, who's a wonderful sax player and part of the studio here, and thank you guys for having us. Yeah.
Yeah, this has been great.
So-
Really.
So any other ones, and then we'll kind of wrap it up and play a tune. What any other things we should hit? I think we should maybe one more. I don't know.
Yeah,
Pick one more.
Yeah, we could take another question.
I do have one more,
It is.
and then
Got one
and
more.
then I'll say thank you to the chat after that. But you guys mentioned a little bit about the guest artists at the Garden and how that's kind of become such a special thing for everybody. We had a specific question about Bruce and how that was at the 100th show. And then also somebody called out the fact that they always get a kick out of Carl mentioning that his favorite guest was Miley.
Oh, I love Miley.
Miley was great.
I was expecting like Hannah Montana coming out,
No,
like
her
throwing stuff
voice
at me,
was-
and she blew me
She was
away.
fantastic.
Right?
She was fantastic. Yeah.
Hi, Miley.
You having fun with that, Carl?
My
Come
new
here.
friend. I have to look at his face.
Come here.
No, I'm scared.
Let's put a rubber glove on this thing. Bend over.
Time for your exam, Mr. Fisher. So you can't take us anywhere.
No,
There's going to be
no.
problems. And Miley was amazing. She did New York State of Mind that night. And Paul
Yeah.
Simon was there, too.
Yeah.
Paul Simon sang.
yep. And I remember we did the end. At the end of Maybe
Yeah,
Right.
You might be. Yeah.
We did the rock and roll part, and she lit up. She came running over. She was like all into
All
it.
about
She
it,
was
yeah.
like all about the rock. She loves rock music.
she's-
She's a big fan of rock
But
music.
what blew my mind, I know she is, but what blew my mind, her singing New York State of Mind. I didn't
In
expect
that
her to
low,
phrase.
and her pitch
Right.
was perfect. I mean, that's like and Pink sang that. It's a tough
Yeah,
act to follow.
yeah. Pink
After
was
Pink,
great
Pink
on it,
was
yeah.
killer on it.
Yeah.
No, she was great. Miley was fantastic.
No, the guest artists, I mean, from Chick Corea jazz pianist to Miley to Pink, You know,
about your
the
career,
Paul.
forgot
Yeah, that was wonderful. And Paul Simon and Bruce. Did you mention Bruce,
Yeah,
Steven?
Bruce.
I asked about how if you guys had any thoughts on Bruce at the 100th show.
The 100th row.
I was never a Bruce fan ever in my life,
10th Avenue Freeze out we played.
and I
that night.
was after that
Yeah.
show.
That was a
After
fun
that
night.
show, I was like, wow, I understand now. I get it. I get
The
it.
dichotomy of Jersey and with
Yeah.
Bruce and Long Island and New York with
Energy.
Billy.
And he's just so positive and loved.
Yeah.
So loved. It's
When
like,
you see a Bruce show, then you realize, oh wow,
yes.
I didn't understand it either. Being
Yeah.
a jerk jazz guy, I'm like, and then I went, you know, I seen it. I'm like, oh my god, this thing is really the energy, like you said, the positive energy.
Absolutely. Yeah. I couldn't believe the garden lit up like I've never, you know, out of any of the guests, I think he got the most.
Applause.
Yeah, it was insane.
And they have a great relationship too.
Yeah,
You
they
could
do.
tell
They
like
do.
it's
Yeah.
you know, and it's part of that thing. It's like the tri-state area,
Absolutely.
Jersey, New York.
You're in my Billy. You're
Yeah.
in my town now. You
No.
want to come in my town? You know.
We
But
were
yeah,
very lucky with wonderful guests and even some of the Kevin James. Shout out to Kevin.
awesome.
He comes,
Kevin is
great
the best.
comedian, funny, and you're good friends with him. And he had. Let's talk about Ordinary Guy, and you know how'd that come about? And Mona Lisa, you had him on the video.
Yeah,
He's you
yeah.
know, very supportive of you, which
listen,
I love.
Kevin is a lot to me in my career. You know what Billy has done for me in music and everything else. Kevin also reached out the olive branch as far as my original music and really
He dug it.
embraced my original music. And I gotta just give him a shout out. He's done so much for me with my original stuff and on his own. I mean, he really did all that stuff on his own. It was all his idea to do Mona Lisa,
He's a
to
good
do.
soul, man.
He's just a great dude and a lover of music. He just loves music. Like my favorite Kevin moment on stage with Billy is when he got on stage and he was playing and he was trying to play the piano and he looked back. He looked back at the big screen and he goes, "Ugh." He goes, "I look like a bag of leaves." I was crying. Oh. So, but ordinary Guy was just. We were in London, and they were about to shoot the show, and he waited kind of the last minute to get a theme song for it, and he just texted me and said, "Look, man, I love your songs." He goes, "Do you have something that you think would work for a show?" And I picked the most obvious tune I had. It was Ordinary Guy because I thought the song was terrible. Not as far as for Kevin, but the song as a whole, from start to finish, it wasn't a radio song. It wasn't some. It had fun parts.
Sure.
And with a
Fun
sitcom,
moments, yeah.
with a sitcom, you want that first 20 seconds. You just want.
Yep.
That's it. Sold.
There it
5
is.
seconds, 10 seconds. So I figured if he likes that part, that's the whole song.
Yeah.
So you got
That's
it.
the
and
vibe.
So I sent him that. He got back to me really quick and he said, "Yes, we got it. My wife just watched the video. We love it. We love it."
Cool.
And then he actually, got me on the show. I acted on the show a few times.
Which was
I did
great
the
with
season
Adam
finale
Sandler
with Adam
and Chris
Sandler,
Rock.
Chris Rock. We were
really
in the band.
killer, yeah. Well,
Yep.
you were great on it.
Smokefish was the name of the band.
Yeah. The band's back together.
Yeah, the band's back together. And the British guy goes, "Smoked fish?"
But what's amazing is, I mean, I only know I know Kevin not as well as you, but I know him pretty well, and he's like Billy too. And you're the Ordinary Guy. He's a man's man. What you see is what you get.
Absolutely.
Which is the
Yeah,
cool
that's
part of it. There's
100%.
no smoke screen.
No.
Which is cool.
No, and watching him work, he is a brilliant actor. People don't, because he's so
Yeah,
hidden
comedic.
behind the comedy stuff and the comedic roles. His timing, he's one of the,
Bag of
his
leaves.
he's like a bag. I look like a bag of leaves, but his timing, even when we were in just doing the round table and script reading, everything even when he's just reading. It's so right. His timing is so perfect, and he
Like a
can give it
musician's
deliver.
timing.
Yes, he's
Yeah.
just so damn good, and just a great soul. I just can't thank him publicly. Can't thank him enough. Just like with Billy, and for anybody to take a liking to something, because originals, that's close to home, and that's that's
That's
what
your
we
soul.
all. That's what we all playing covers has always been my job. Originals is the career. It's the passion, and it's the career. So, great. A big shout out to Kevin. He's amazing. A great dude.
Yeah, he's a good cat, man.
Yeah.
The world needs more of him. And the comedian, right now, the world needs comedy,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So,
No
hopefully that
problem.
answered that.
Quick. I know I promised, but this one
will
will
be
be quick, and I left it off by accident.
What do you got?
But Lee is asking, since you guys have a unique perspective as band members, what do each of you think that Billy's favorite song to perform is?
No idea. It could. I think it's the flavor of the week.
I think so too.
Just like my mentality, it's what he feels at the time.
Yeah.
Because he's got it's over 280 tunes, right?
Yeah.
It's
I
ridiculous.
think there's overall favorite songs. He would tell you his overall that have lasted the test of time.
Lullaby.
Yeah, like Vienna, Lullaby. Those are proud songs. I think that he would say or whatever. But again, week to week, like Carl said, because even when we do big shot stuff, it's like there are some weeks I get into 52nd Street and all of a sudden my favorite song is X and then
Rosalinda's
Y. Yeah,
Eyes or
Rosalinda's
whatever.
Eyes, and I'm like, wow, it's the best. And so when you got a guy that's dishing out that many great songs, it's hard to really pick. It's I don't know. I think Billy was. I think I've seen him say that like Vienna, Summer Highland Falls. Proud
Summer
Highland Falls.
Have to ask him.
Yeah,
We'll have to
Yeah.
ask him. And
Yeah.
Billy's hip, man. There's no putting anything over on him.
No, there's no
He's-
jive right
yeah.
there.
And
No.
he's hanging. He's about his music, and he's about the world and treating people the way people want to be treated. And like you said, he's an example of what. I know we're Billy centric, but it's the truth, man. He leads by example.
He does. He does. And with a quietly.
Yeah.
You don't have to. He doesn't have to say much, and usually what he says is poignant and funny. He's a funny dude too.
Yeah, we like him.
He's all right. We'll keep him around.
He's a good guy.
We might keep him around for a little while. I'm gonna let him keep playing the charade that he plays.
When was the last time we played charades?
I don't know.
Like charades.
Yeah. What am I doing right now?
Where's my hand? All right, so we're gonna finish up. Say goodnight, Stephen, or ask us one more question, but kind of wrap it up, and we'll play a tune. I'll ask one more question myself.
Yeah, no, we're all good question wise. I'll just say thank you to everybody that hung out in the chat. I do want to give a special thank you also to Myrna and
My
to
friend Myrna.
yep,
Perez.
and to Claire and Todd
Claire
and
Mercury.
everybody at the Billy organization that helped us out as well. You
Thank
guys
you.
have always been really supportive, obviously, and I definitely really appreciate all the help that you guys have given to us. So with that, I will say thank you to everybody in the chat. I appreciate all the kind comments. If you guys are new to the season 3, episode 10, so there are 33 other episodes out there. All of them are archived on Carl's Facebook and YouTube pages. There are some other Billy band members and even members of the crew that have done hangs with us. So there's tons of fun stories. And if for example, if you ever wanted to see Chuck Berge work a puppet, you could do that on the Tuesday night
It's actually
hang.
funny but scary.
So with that, I will shut my mic off and turn it over to you guys. Thank you guys for spending 2 hours and 40+ minutes live with us, and I will see you guys next time.
Thank you, man.
Thank you,
couldn't
brother.
It couldn't have been done without you, Stephen.
No,
You've been
definitely not.
you're my right hand and left hand man. We love you, and thanks for keeping us keeping the wheels round and greased.
The
Thank
master
you.
switchboard operator.
He's bad.
Man.
He's a great
Badass.
manager and switchboard and good cat. We couldn't do it without you, and obviously the Billy Camp, and couldn't have played music without my friend here, Mike. Appreciate you coming, brother.
Oh, thanks for having me, man.
And All Access Studios, Mike MacArthur, Doug Johnson, and Ronnie D. Thank you for having us in your home. It's been wonderful. Great job. And stay tuned. Tuesday night hang. Mike's on Saturday night on Live at the Porch Saturday nights right now.
Yep, 8:30. Yep.
And so I'm going to leave it with that. I'm going to ask Mike one more question, and we're going to finish on a tune. I always ask every guest, what excites you now or in the future? Could be about driving home, or it could be about anything. What excites you right now, bro? What are you looking forward to?
I guess I would say I'm looking forward to whatever God has next, because, like I said, even with what happened with Billy and getting involved, I never see anything coming.
No.
If I do things myself, they suck. I screw everything up if I try to put my foot forward and make something happen. So I'm going to say that I'm excited to see what the universe has next and what God
That's
has
great,
next.
man.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
because I don't know.
Well, you have a beautiful
But
family.
I'm blessed.
You are blessed.
Yeah, I'm blessed.
Noah and Sam and Victoria, and then I'm
Colby,
leaving that.
yep,
My man Kobe.
Yeah.
You know, a wonderful family. Christina, you're very blessed, and we're blessed that you share your music with us constantly. So that's a beautiful
thank you.
thing, and we're going to drive cars really fast,
Yes, we are.
and we're going to laugh and play music.
Yes.
And Mike came up with a great idea. I'll let Mike talk about this, but he came up with a great idea to end the night. And I think it's very poignant, and a jazz player is into this. So let's talk about this.
Okay,
Tom.
yeah. I mean, really quickly, it's just, we have 2 days in a row of that will go down in infamy, and one is for our country, and that was Pearl Harbor on the 7th. And then the next day, not the same year, obviously, but the next day when we look back on it, we have the death of John Lennon. So musically speaking, for the music world, obviously they're completely two different things, and they're not to be compared. But to the music world, it was a huge loss. And no matter who you were or where you were at the time or what age you were at, I was very young. He died in 1980.
Yeah, 40 years ago.
I was 9 years old, and I cried because and I remember crying as a kid, and it was just such a sad thing to have happened. So we figured, and I know a lot of people have been paying homage to John Lennon today on Facebook and on many things, and playing this song, and you know what the song is because this is the staple song. But we're going to just kind of, I don't really play it ever. We've never played it together. So we're just going to kind of do a acoustic-y version of it, but it's imagined by John Lennon, and a shout out just to his legacy, right? I mean, to everything he brought to the music world, and we have the music we have today because of John Lennon, McCartney, and those 4 guys. So much of our music comes from them. So big shout out. It's a sad reminder of mental illness, a sad reminder about, a lot of things. Yeah. So let's just, play this and think about the ones that went before us, our heroes, the ones that went before us, a musical hero, right?
Musical hero, and be positive, and like you said, it's beautiful. Thank you for coming, and enjoy our version, man. Thank you, Mike.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us on the sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer. I'm not the only one. Hope someday you join us and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. Wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. And you may say I'm a dreamer. I'm not the only one. Hope someday you join us and the world will be as one. Imagine all the people living life in peace. And you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Hope someday you join us, yeah, and the world will be as one.
Salute. God bless you guys.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everybody.
Carlito.
Mr. Carl Fischer.